and sports show you never knew was two of those things.
I think we can all acknowledge that if this fails, you two will be fired and I will remain. So, no pressure.
Bo Bishop, a regional media icon, winner of Emmys, purveyor of the good life.
Sir, you don't know that for a fact.
I just said it on the radio.
Also, two guys this company named Employee of the Month.
What are you talking about?
Paul Hogan is Hulk Hogan's brother. Look it up.
Because it's Hulk Hogan. That's his real name.
One guy is from Australia. The other one is from Tampa.
He's from Hollywood, brother.
Not brothers. Chops.
Yes, they are.
This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. SEC Bureau Chief Heath Cline going to join us coming up at 10:33. Oregon Ducks, your 20 most interesting. They are formidable. They are right there. It's really remarkable what they're doing. You think that they had reached their apex under Chip, the combination of Nike and all of that, but they're on a different level now with Lanning, even with what they're doing in recruiting and NIL. We will get to the Ducks coming up at 11 o'clock. Your emails at 10 o'clock as well. Keep you updated on the Open Championship, a windy, breezy day at Troon. We'll keep you updated on that as well. Plus, a little bit coming up at 9:33, a peek into how the people who are running college football see this sport evolving in the coming years. I did want to start with this, and I promise this will be the last I talk of the NCAA video game, but we were playing last night with the boys, and we had started the Ohio State dynasty, and I had some reviews of the Buckeye dynasty. But the reason that I wanted to talk about it today is because I think we talk about a 12-game regular season and getting to 17 games if you're going to win it all and be perfect. But until you actually start to do it, even if it's on an actual video game, you can't even, it's hard to comprehend how long it takes and the steps in front of you. We could all sit there and say, well, yeah, the Buckeyes need to win every game and they need to go win the national championship. That's all the expectations are this year. But then you start doing it. And they were playing last night. We had beat Oregon. I played the Oregon game. We beat them 24-10, pretty tight. And Travion Henderson went out with broken ribs. And Quinshon Judkins went out with a bruised sternum. So the next game, you're playing against Nebraska, and you don't have either of them. And all of a sudden, it's a freshman running back, and you can't run it. And you're up 28-3 throwing the ball, but all of a sudden, they just sit in a zone, and they say, we dare you to run. And Will Howard is not Braxton Miller. And all of a sudden, you go, my God, this is what Ryan Day's been talking about. This is when he talks about all the quarterbacks he's needed. This is when he talks about all the running backs he's needed. I was listening to Phil Steele on with Anthony and on Rothman and Ice earlier this week, and they were talking about how Ohio State at the top of their running back room is the best in the country, but there really isn't any depth. And at one point, Beamsy said to me, well, Dad, why don't you just put in Chip Trainum? Well, we don't have Chip Trainum.
Nope.
And we don't have Dallin Hayden. They're gone, man. And so when you start to think about playing 17 games, we ended up winning 41-38. They came all the way back, couldn't get a stop. It was crazy. We ended up winning late on a field goal. But the reality of this whole operation is that you still aren't even halfway through. You're not even close. If you are to play the 17 games, what's the 8th game on the Buckeye schedule? Is that Penn State in November 2nd, I think? Is that Penn State? I think it might be. I think that might be your 8-0 game. Would be to get to the Penn State game at 8-0. It's right around there. Understand that in the old days...
Yeah, Penn State is 8th.
Good call. Yeah, good job out of me. Think about this from this perspective, though, fellas. In the old days, you get to November, you're in the last third of the season. You're in the last third. That's all that's left. You got 4 games to play. Right? And then you're going to get a big break, and then you go play for a national championship. You're going to go play in a bowl game, and that's it. Early November now is halfway home. So when you talk about the depth that is required to navigate this, when you talk about, these bye weeks that Ohio State has built into the schedule, it's a damn shame they're not later. They have them early. There's one in week 3. There's another one between the Oregon and Nebraska game, and then you play straight through. And we're playing this Nebraska game last night, and I'm thinking all right, let's get to November, and then we're going to cruise. We'll play the Michigan game at the end of the month, big game in Happy Valley, and then away we go. And you think to yourself, well, no, you're halfway. You're halfway home. This is something that when we talk about playing a 12-game season, when you talk about a full playoff, a Big Ten championship game, all of it, Ryan Day has talked about this ad nauseum. Anytime anybody puts a microphone in front of him, and usually it's in the context of discussing the quarterback room. It's in the context of, well, who's going to be your starter? And he'll say, well, I'm going to need 3 of them, or I'm going to need however many. But roster-wise, top to bottom, depth of talent will be key. This will be an NFL-like survival of the fittest. Remember last year in the NFL playoffs, as the Browns made that improbable run to the postseason, playing 5 quarterbacks. They were to their 4th and 5th offensive tackles on the left and right side by the time they got to the postseason. They did not have either their punter or kicker. Both gone. They were both gone. Did not play in the Jets game, did not play in the postseason. They were banged up. They were beaten up. They were lost for the year. That will happen here. The injury factor of playing 17 games is something that we talk about typically in the context of quarterbacks. The running back situation is nuts. Yes, at the top, you are ridiculous. 95, 93s is what they're rated on in the game. Ridiculous talent, NFL talent. But beyond it, it's all kids. It's all kids. And that depth of talent is something that we talked Notre Dame yesterday. We're going to talk Oregon today. When you think about the teams that can win a national championship, you damn well better have a 2 and 3 deep.
It's crazy, too, because you're talking about the NFL example there with the Browns. But for the Browns, I mean, look at the quarterback goes down and you go, well, is Joe Flacco okay? Let's call him up, see if he wants to come in.
Sure.
That doesn't exist. There's no waiver wire. There's no free agents that can just come off the street in college football. I wonder if they'll open it up. They're like, hey, if guys are in the portal during the season, you can add them if a player of that position gets hurt or something like that. I wonder if they'll do it, because we've talked about that. There's guys in the portal that aren't going to find homes. So what is their status? Can they join a team? That's maybe something to look at as we go forward with this. And it really highlights, okay, I think we can all agree that the 2 teams in the SEC and Big Ten championship will make the college football playoff no matter what the result of the game is. I think that's a pretty fair thing to say. We can also agree, I think, that the 3rd best team in the SEC and the Big Ten is going to make the playoff basically every year, the way it's currently constructed. Yeah. That is why being 3rd is way more advantageous than going to the title game and losing it. That is the worst scenario.
Yeah, you've been on that. I think you're right.
Because you keep saying 17 games. It's 16 if you win the Big Ten and get that bye. It's 17 if you lose the Big Ten title game against another very good playoff, not even just playoff caliber, but cream of the crop.
Play it out with
caliber.
Oregon. Play it with Oregon. Like, let's say you go out there and win in Eugene, and then they get you in the Big Ten championship game. They're going to be the 2 seed, and you're going to be the 5 or 6.
And now you have to play 5 playoff caliber games in a row.
That's the other part of it. That's the other thing that it's hard to wrap your head around. The other thing and I don't know why playing this game has brought it all into perspective, Reese, but it has. Like, there are designed cupcakes. There are stat eater games in a college football schedule that you go into we played the boys played Marshall yesterday afternoon or something like that, and I can't remember when they played them, but it was like, hey, let's go eat. Let's get Emeka 200 yards receiving. Let's get both backs 100 yards. Like, it was one of those let's go eat games. But then all of a sudden they start stacking. And Reese, you think about playing playoff games, Michigan, Big Ten championship game, and then if it's bye, then you have 3 more. If you lose the Big Ten championship, 4 more. It's an NFL schedule.
It's unprecedented for anybody. So no. I think if and I don't think I have heard anybody try to speak with any conviction about how exactly to manage a roster with this. Because, again, if you're summoning the mountaintop, you're going to January 20. So it does feel like the best. The teams that will be there on the 20th will be the ones that got the luckiest with their injuries.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask you, did you try Caleb Downs?
Tailback. So, we get done playing the Nebraska game, and you can't run. We could not run. Like, they just stuffed it. We couldn't block. Oh, and then I was wondering, you go, why is the left side of the offensive line? So I remember I said it was so leaky. I missed this entirely. Apparently, in a game one of the boys played, left tackle gone for the year.
Oh, that explains
so
that.
That's
okay.
So left tackle gone for the year. So there you go. So you're leaky on the left side. So they were just blowing it up. And at the end of it, I'm like, God, we should have done that. We should have put Caleb Downs at running back. But it was in a situation where, like, anybody who played running back was going to get battered. They were getting hurt. And what the game does is, if they get nicked, you have the option to either keep them in and risk further injury or not. But the one thing that they screw up on is, if you say rest them, Once they get back to feeling good, the game will automatically put them back in. So you have to change the depth chart. Like I had to take Judkins and put him out of the depth chart.
So that they wouldn't put him back in, so that he wouldn't get more hurt.
Because this Peoples guy, some freshman kid named Peoples, I don't know that kid on the roster. He's my guy. I don't have any more backs.
In the game, is Caffey in the game? Because he just got hurt in real life.
He's not.
But he's not. Is he just not in the game?
I didn't see him. Now, yeah, I did not see him in the game. Now he could have been. It's hard to say.
The Caleb Downs part, though, brings up an interesting thing that I was curious about. Can you still put whoever at whatever position? Because that's something Madden wouldn't let you do back in the day. Only people you could play at quarterback were quarterbacks. But I used to sometimes sub in like a wide receiver at quarterback who had like a high school quarterback who had decent throwing stats so that you could run with them. And I'm interested if you can still do that. So
I haven't. I should have done the Downs thing honestly yesterday because that would have been helpful. Because an inability to run will get you pretty quick. It was James Peoples, the freshman, was the other kid there. He was the guy. We're rolling with him.
In a way, though, things we were talking about, the comments from Dabo Sweeney yesterday about how, we could see, like in the NFL, players resting. It's not going to be a game of whether or not you want to rest these guys. It might just be the game of attrition that you won't see the stars because they'll just be hurt. They won't be resting. They'll be hurt.
Yeah. It's so many games, and at the end, through November and December, it's just haymakers. Florida is not one of the 20 most interesting programs. I think it's going to be a brutal year for them down here, and Napier's probably going to get fired. But if they somehow made it as like an at-large out of the SEC, their run of 8 games to close the season, no one has ever done that. No one's ever done anything.
They'd be the walking wounded through the playoff.
Yeah, and it's not it's not just an NFL schedule in number of games, but it's an NFL schedule in competition level that you're facing because the NFL pretty even across the board. When you start to play these kind of games in succession, that's the feeling you're going to get. There are no Purdue's and Indiana's in the playoff run.
That's why, though, your situation you ran into, albeit in video game form, could manifest itself on the field, and we're knocking on wood and whatever we can that it won't be this Ohio State squad, but it's been a thing we've spoken about for a couple of years now where you need to get the backups legitimate reps and the full complement of the offense in those cupcake games. That's going to matter extra this season. Where those games where you look at the opponent across you, say, all right, time to eat. Everybody needs to eat in that. Because if you're looking at, with an Ohio State offense that now you don't have a tackle, you don't have your running backs, can't run the ball, is that a situation where you say, all right, we've given Air Noland enough reps. We've given Devin Brown enough reps. Air Noland's got the athletic ability that we think is probably best in that quarterback room. He's shown us enough against Marshall. Maybe we trust him against a Michigan State.
It's so funny you say that. So I thought of you as in the first half, we're up big on some teams in that first, whether it's Western Michigan or Marshall or Akron or whatever, that first month. And like the whole second half, we're playing Sayin. Like Sayin plays the whole second half. But then he doesn't have the wheels to help you in a game against Nebraska. So it's roster management. Like, this is a frivolous nonsense video game, but it does hit home from the perspective of roster management, developing a full roster and depth of talent. And then you're going to need a lot of luck. And I'll get out of here on this. This is how Florida finishes the season. And remember, in the first half of the season, they play Texas A&M, they play Tennessee, the regular complement. They play Miami as one of their non-conferences. These are their last 5 games of the year in order. Florida, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Florida, LSU, Florida, Ole Miss, Florida, Florida State. That's the 5 games they finish with. And the week before that, they play Kentucky, who's no cupcake. So that's their finish. So they're not winning the SEC, clearly. I don't think they'll be 500. But if they somehow made the playoff, they would then face what the playoff is going to provide. Good luck surviving any of that. The Open Championship is underway across the pond. Get you an update on what's going on over there. That is coming up next. We're off and running on a Thursday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Marty Brenneman here for Tri-State Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health for treating erectile dysfunction and low testosterone issues. And they're the leader for a reason, because I can tell you from my own experience of being treated there, Tri-State Men's Health is top shelf. Far too many men wait to get their ED treated, but I want to tell you today that you shouldn't wait any longer. If you're suffering with ED and are like most guys, a medical team at Tri-State Men's Health will get you back on track fast. They have the experience, they have the treatment protocols, and they know what they're doing. At Tri-State Men's Health, they have ED treatments that are effective in well over 90% of men. They can even combine treatments for better results. You might even find yourself performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment today. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. They have 6 offices in the tri-state area to serve you.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
The Buckeyes are starting fall camp and we're tagging along. The Fan is broadcasting live August 1st through the 4th at Ohio State football practice. Morning juice and Bishop and Friends Thursday and Friday, plus live weekend programming. Let's go. Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Jerry.
Remember when we first met?
I was just starting Eco Plumbers and looking for a silent partner.
And I had just invented sneakers with lights in them and was looking for somewhere to invest my fortune.
I didn't even think inventor was an actual job.
I didn't think plumbers started companies.
Get Eco.
As I recall, you thought the name Eco was a pretty good idea.
As a full-time inventor, Aaron, it's just that kind of creative thinking that caught my attention. Simple, memorable, singable.
Get Eco.
And it reminds homeowners that modern plumbing can make economical sense and ecological sense at the same time. Waste less water and save money on your utility bills.
Get Eco.
Instead of just sitting here raking in royalties after inventing that little plastic hanger that socks come on, I might as well be a silent partner in a company that's doing good.
You're not all that silent, as silent partners go.
But I am charming, Aaron.
Get Eco.
GetEco.com.
At Glow Fiber Business, your business is our priority. With prepackaged and customized fully fiber optic solutions, Glow Fiber Business delivers the fast, reliable, and scalable fiber internet your business needs to grow, all backed by the superior local customer support you deserve. Glow Fiber is here, and we mean business. Call 1-833-WANT-GLOW or visit glowfiberbusiness.com to switch today.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heath Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on the weather heading into the next couple of days. Today, look for the return of sunny skies with a high of 80. A little bit warmer on your Friday with a high of 82. Saturday and Sunday will both be sunny with highs in the middle to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with a look at your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed, you are on a Thursday edition of the program. Cardale Jones this weekend, right? Big event. We have this thing it's locked in. That's this weekend. It's the Schmitz Cardale Jones Celebrity Softball game. It's coming. It is Saturday. Why picnic when you can schmidnick? In fact, it's presented by Monogram Homes of the U.S. Air Force. It's this Saturday, 6:30, Huntington Park. Current Buckeye players, former Buckeye players, Cardell, Emeka. Tickets are $10 and available at BuckeyeCruise.com is where you scoop those up. I got well, I'll get you the open update in a second. Zachary with this on social. Hey, Bo, big fan, regular listener. As a dad to boys and football enthusiasts, love to hear your take. What would be your top 5 historic Ohio State football games to show your sons to get them interested in football and the team? They're already well past that. Their hatred for Michigan is unlike anything I've ever seen. Probably like a 90s, someone who lived through the 90s. Like
definitely exceeds your own.
Oh, way more than my own. Yeah, it's way more. Like their hatred is just like Beamsy's to the point of like, are we going to beat Michigan this year? And he just says no. Like, he just is so pissed off about it, he can't even wrap his head around it. Here's what I'd tell you, Zachary. Watch the HBO documentary on the rivalry that our great friend and great friend of the program, John Bacon, I think is the MVP of from the Michigan side. Watch that. And that does the best job, I think, of painting. I know BTN has done a version of it as well that was it Simmons did it? Jeff, the guy who's in he was in Oz. Won the Academy Award for the Jazz. Why am I blanking on that guy's name?
J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, that guy.
Okay.
He narrated one that was pretty good that I think...
Whiplash is the movie.
Whiplash, there you go.
The jazz.
The drums, the jazz with the drums. He narrated one that was very good as well. But I think the HBO one does the best job. In terms of games, I mean, obviously you could show him the 14 Bama game. You could show him the Miami game. You could show them Penn State in 16, Michigan 16, the Clemson game with Justin Fields, maybe the best game of quarterbacks ever played here. All of those would be fun. There's a billion games to choose from.
6-1 versus 2.
That's another one that's great.
18 Penn State, by the way.
18, I'm sorry.
16 is when 16, Penn State got him.
Yeah, 18. Yeah, that's right. You just brought that up yesterday. 18 Penn State, I mean. So there's a lot of great ones out there. Well, no, what's the JT Barrett game?
That's 18 Penn State where they're wearing the gray jerseys. That's in the horseshoe. So 18. Or is that 17 Penn State?
No, that's 17.
Yeah, that's
18
17.
is Haskins.
Yeah.
19 is Fields. 20 is Fields. 21. Yeah, so it's 17.
This goes to the point that Penn State games are awesome, and it's a shame that they're not a rivalry on Ohio State's schedule every year from now on.
Again, they're awesome with scarlet and gray colored glasses.
Yes, but they're still, from non-Penn State glasses, they're still really fun, entertaining games to watch almost every year.
You know, it's kind of like if you have, I'll use the boys. This is the perfect analogy for it. It would be like if Beamsy was like, yeah, I don't want to play NBC anymore in hoops because he wins all the time. But it's competitive. Like, wouldn't you rather try and keep trying? Try to win. And you've won a little, like they've won a little bit.
See, you're applying logic. I don't think you can in this instance. It's Penn State. They don't want any part of this.
They really don't. But I think that documentary, the HBO doc, that sets the tone for it. I think it paints the perfect picture for what it is to be a Buckeye juxtaposed to what it is to be a Wolverine. And I think it's called The Rivalry or something like that. That's a very good one. What else we've done? Youngstown Boys has been a doc, a 30 for 30. The 14 season probably ought to be one, but I think honestly 15 would probably be the more interesting one with everything that was going on, like 14 into 15. But they don't do those as much as they used to. Used to see those quite a bit, those 30 for 30s, and now they just kind of come and go.
And I think you could get a 14 or a 15 if you were able to have Urban injected with truth serum and sit him down for it.
Yeah, I have no interest in a Swamp Boys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what are those called? The Untold, but then they just tell us everything we already know.
Like the Johnny one.
Where they basically pretty cool.
They take sports docs and just basically sports wash them. Like, here's how, it's not a lie if you believe it, Jerry, is kind of what a lot of those are. Like, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. Jordan was the first one that did one of these.
Yeah.
Jeter did it as well. The Jordan one was interesting because that's the first time we had seen that from Jordan, where he had talked so extensively. But it was absolutely from his view entirely. And so that isn't necessarily a true doc, but I think that that rivalry one absolutely is. So check that one out if you're looking for it. I'm a sucker for the Open Championship. I absolutely love it. I mean, there is a billboard I'm looking at that says "Forged by Nature" at Troon, because the place is just windswept. It is by the sea. The wind blows in 1,000 different directions. There is mist. There is gray. There is haze.
It looks miserable, right?
It looks awful. It looks miserable. Yes, it looks absolutely miserable. And yet somehow they're playing golf. And because these courses are short, the only protection they have, the only defense they have are the elements. And so that's what can happen in these things is the elements can pop up. And Justin Thomas is leading it at 3 under. Rory is not in the mix. He's 5 over. He's going to miss the cut is the way that's going to go. So he's going to probably shut it down. I wouldn't
He'll
be
have to
surprised
change
if
his
he
number
shut it
again
down.
then.
Yeah, he may shut it down for the year and just say, I'll see you next year, because he feels like a broken man. But I am a sucker for this one. I was a sucker for this one as a kid for 2 reasons. Number one, it was on when you woke up. So I love that. I love being able to like get up, it's on, let's watch, and away we go. But probably the bigger reason that I love the Open Championship, aside from the historical part of it, is it just looks different. They don't play any courses like this. They, especially in the old days of the PGA Tour, like every course was giant tree-lined courses, smaller greens, and they all kind of looked similar. And now what we're seeing in American golf course architecture is taking out a ton of trees, and courses look entirely different than they used to. We saw this at Pinehurst, who was one of the first to do it, where they went back to what the original design was.
The opposite of forged by nature.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, the opposite. But these are untouched. They're the same. These are the same bunkers, 200 years. It's the same gorse. It's the same everything. And the only protection they have, they'll change the tee boxes, move them back. They've done some of that in some of them. But largely, the only thing that protects these courses are the elements. And I've always been a sucker for it. I love the look of it. I love about everything about it.
I guess it's the golf equivalent of we like to watch the snow football game, but it's not actually fun to play in or be at. And that's what I feel like it is for the golfers there, that it's so windy and it can rain and it's colder than it normally is in July. And yet they go out there and we love to watch it. But I bet it's one of their most miserable stops whenever they do make it up there. Or, the Open normally looks like this in all their courses.
I know a couple of, do you guys know anybody who's gone over there to play? I've known several people who have gone, whether they've done like the Scotland tour or the Ireland tour.
Tim was over there for the Open a couple of years ago and played a course out there, not one of the big courses. But
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly the tourism's their whole operation, right? In Scotland, Ireland, like that.
Yeah, for sure.
That and whiskey, and Guinness. I guess if you're in Ireland,
and that's all for tourists too.
That's all touristy too. You were just there, but the people that I've talked to who play they say it's just unbelievable. Like this one wasn't necessarily one that was lauded with praise, but when you play St. Andrews, when you play some of those places, there's just a feel of the history of it, and then you just deal with the elements and just accept that it's part of it. But it's a choice to go do it for sure. But I love the look, so we'll keep you updated on this thing as it goes along. But right now, Justin Thomas, your leader at 3 under par. The college football executive director has spoken, and what he has told us yesterday is what to expect from their perspective on a 12-team playoff, where it goes from there, and what this calendar could look like. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
Skyline is turning up the heat this summer with Hot Met Cheese Conies, made with a premium Hot Met sausage from Queen City Sausage. But don't wait. Hot Met Conies are only at participating Skyline restaurants for a limited time. Come get yours today.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Your roof took a beating from winter storms, spring rain, and sun damage. Call Legacy Roofing Services before that crack or seam becomes a major leak, costing thousands of dollars. Call Legacy today, 800-880-ROOF, 800-880-ROOF. Legacy Roofing Services.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. This season on Nada Yada Island.
When we were new, they spoiled me. They even gave me a phone. But then, it's like I didn't exist.
Don't take yada yada from your wireless carrier. Now with Metro, get that new customer feeling again and again. Introducing Metro Flex. Free 5G phones when you join, same deals as new customers when you stay. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Just bring your number and ID and sign up for an eligible plan. After 12 months, trade in and get our best deals on select devices.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. I was in my Lexus the other day. It was hot as hell, but I was so thankful for my ventilated seats. I'm not saying that's why you should buy one. It's just very nice. Right now at Jermaine Lexus, it's the Golden Opportunity Sales Event with lease payments as low as $499 a month and 3.99% financing on select models. Get this, the RZ is 0%. I have been a Jermaine customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Jermaine Lexus, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
Okay, so that's the final price. Oh, an extra fee to drive here. Is that it? A knock on the door fee. So is that the final price? A 15% Wednesday surcharge. What for? Oh, because it's Wednesday. Of course. Can I get back to you on this?
Apex Pros, the pros who knows.
This quote you gave me, are there any other charges I don't know about?
Other charges?
Like an it's too sunny fee or my dog wet the carpet tax?
No, Apex always gives you upfront pricing.
No surprise fees?
Never.
No charge if your stomach hurts or you lost your library card?
Upfront pricing every time at Apex Pros, whether it's plumbing, heating, and AC, or our new electrical services.
I'll call you right back. Hello, other company? Hi, me again.
It's Alex, the friendly Apex Bear. You'll never get a surprise charge with the Apex Pros upfront price guarantee. Schedule an appointment now at apexpros.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text STAY to 321321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text STAY to 321321. That's STAY to 321321.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Thursday. College football executive director Rich Clark says he's taking a wait-and-see approach to the college football playoff. Among the topics, and this was from ESPN, Clark on the first round, I want to see how the first round will go without a hitch. I think we're on a good path for that to happen, but helping those teams, the teams that get selected 5 through 8, they have that spectacular home game, and it's great. No issues. They're able to advance their team to the next round. I can't help but laugh when I read stuff. Like, what would prevent Tuscaloosa from hosting a game in December?
They host 8 to 9 games a year already.
You're not playing on the moon. Like you're going to play in places
than a neutral
that are used
site.
to. Yes, they're quite well prepared to play home games. I suppose like a really cold game in the north, but we've played a lot of really cold games in the north, and it's fine. I mean, it's fine.
It's cold, but it is what it is.
Yes, but the game goes off just fine. Like we're well prepared for it. But this part was interesting, and this was from Sankey. Sankey said yesterday, this was at SEC, I was part of the work on 12. I think it was well-reasoned, and I don't think you just jump to 14. Why the hell would they jump to 14?
A thing that also doesn't fit into brackets cleanly.
Just go to 16 or go back to 8, but we know they're never going to go back. If we're going to go through 12, aren't we better off seeing how that works, who's involved, who's not involved, and then make a decision for us locally? I think we benefit for our scheduling decision, see a single division, 16-team league play, how the playoff makes decisions. Then we'll come back to our 26 schedule and beyond using as many data points, which is a COVID lesson, by using time to make a really informed decision. Here's the reality on this is basically going to be a 2-year experiment. with college football in the playoff. I don't think anyone would argue. Can't imagine anybody arguing other than the television executives that are promised to them that the conference championship games are extinct in this world. There's no use for them.
They don't make any sense. Yeah.
Extinct is the wrong word. You're right. They don't make any sense. There's no point in them. You've brought this up several times, Chops, the idea of the loser of that game and how punitive playing in that game and losing could be. You typically use the example of a very good team that has to play an extra game. It could also be a team that plays themselves out of it. Let's say if you already have 2 losses, let's say you're Oregon and you lose to Ohio State and you lose to Michigan, you're sitting there at 10th in the country. All of a sudden you get a second loss to Ohio State. Now you're at 3 losses. Now you're out of the playoff because you're playing an extra data point. And they say they're going to take that into consideration, but how could they if, for example, Penn State is sitting there, finished season 10-2 versus a 10-3 Oregon team? So there are all these factors that have to be in play, and I think that metric, that conference championship metric, if it wasn't already sold to TV, that's the easiest one to get rid of. The other thing it would do is it would allow for you to start this thing sooner. So you're not playing until January 20th. You could get going right away on this thing.
I mean, could you wrap in something where, and I know we love the idea of playing on campus. I don't want to get rid of that, but like just wrap in those games along with the television contract of whatever deals with the conference title games. But when you're talking about playing yourself out of it, it made me think of that next level of the Power Four. The ACC and the Big 12 would have a better chance, I think, most years of getting 2 teams in if they didn't play a conference championship. Now you're taking your 2 best teams, or might be only your 2 playoff-worthy teams, and playing an extra game where one of them is guaranteed a loss and might just play themselves right out of it. So I wonder if a conference will make that move first, saying that, like, this actually isn't helping us, even though we're making money off of it. We can make more money by putting 2 teams in the playoff, having that more secured year in and year out. I also thought Greg Sankey, the reason why he said jump to 14, because he's gunning for Big Ten and SEC to have the only 2 buys. That's what it would be.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what it will be. They will be the 2 that get the buys. But again, we're all thinking of it, and I think he even thinks of it from the very high end, that my conference champion will get one of those buys. They're not thinking about the team that loses the conference championship game and the extra game that is being played there. So there's not a whole lot of data in history of organized sport where the governing body says, hey, let's take the next couple of years and let's just, as an experiment, see how it goes. That's what this all feels like. Let's just see how it goes. This thing was put together so haphazardly, and Sankey, who I'm a big fan of in terms of how forward-thinking he is and how aggressive he is, you cannot sit up there and tell me that this was thought through correctly. There is no way. There was a rush to get to 12 that didn't need to be there, quite honestly. The 4 was working just fine. And so there was a rush to 12 that didn't need to be there. And the idea that a governing body, Reese, is just going to sit there and say, hey, let's see how it goes for 2 years. I can't think of another example of that in sport.
Well, they're going to look at the ratings for the college football playoff because I think ESPN, maybe some Fox and NBC were drivers here for the expansion.
Yes.
And this isn't breaking news. This isn't telling, I think, most of you what you don't already know. But they're going to look at the numbers. They're going to say, no, let's go 14 next year. Why? We can do it.
They've got to get away from the NFL, though, because they're already having to farm out to TNT in the first round.
Does that become a thing where you move earlier in the year so you've wrapped up your season? Because January 20th to me feels like the absolute latest you can do a championship game. So I think you can't go forward.
I think what I do here, if you want to go, to me 8 is the number, but you're never giving games back. It's kind of like
you're not going back from 12.
You're not going back.
They mentioned that in this article that, like, no matter what, it'll be at least 12. Whatever they get to in the future in 2 years, it will be at least 12 because that's what they've told now that the television partners get.
And they could go from 14 back to 12, but I think they hit at least 16 before.
It's going to
16 doesn't even add any more weeks. That's why it's just so easy to just throw it in there. Then it's a perfect bracket. We don't have to worry about buys. We don't have to worry about, the ACC champion actually has to jump up to the 4th seed even though they're ranked 8th in the college football playoff. There's a lot of problems with 12, and that's because they took it and they retrofitted it to a contract that already existed because this was their plan all along to basically do a test couple of years. It's funny, the one thing that would have really spurned it on was what happened to Florida State last year, but the rules were already in motion for the 12. It wasn't a response to that.
No, it wasn't that at all. I think in an ideal world, you start the calendar You start the college football season in week 0. Week 1 becomes week 0, and you get rid of the conference championship games. I think you do those two things, you basically buy 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? So what you could do is you just move that whole season back. You play the Ohio State-Michigan game the Saturday before Thanksgiving, Iron Bowl Saturday before Thanksgiving. If you want to give them a week off to kind of chill, okay, I get it. Play Army-Navy the weekend that is currently like the Ohio State-Michigan game week. And then the next week you start. So that would be where we now play the conference championship games. Just start them that weekend, have that be the first round of the playoff. You could easily you could even work a bye in there at some point, or you could find a way to spread it out a little bit. But you got to be wrapped up, in my view, by January 8th, 9th. That's kind of the day you want to be out of.
December's kind of a free agent. Everybody's off work.
Well, that was your bowl week. That was your bowl month anyway.
Right.
Yes.
Just
so do it then. Keep it in that window. Stay out of the NFL's way. They've shown you what they think of you by how they're scheduling that Saturday when they're going head-to-head, by going Stroud versus Mahomes and Steelers versus Ravens. Just stay out of their way. That's the one thing you can't defeat is the National Football League. One other thing I want to get to, this was late last month. Dennis Dodd brought this to our attention. NCAA, we missed it in real time. NCAA President Charlie Baker presented to the NCAA Council a structure for separate governing body involving the Power Four conferences. It's in very early form at this point, but what the idea here is that it would allow for a true Power Four that runs by its own set of rules is the simplest form. That instead of governing Ohio and Ohio State the same, Ohio State is governed the way Alabama is governed, and Ohio is governed the way that Jackson State is governed. That's the idea here.
It's funny because in the article they talk about, this proposal, was similar ones, ideas of this have been around since as early as 2013. So in that one, it was the idea of divisions or whole sports or both could align themselves in more common interests, which would obviously be the Power Five, and they would have their own commissioner and their own board of directors or their own chairman, along with, either commissioner or chairman, whatever you would call it. And the funny thing is, too, that major college football has kind of already done that with the college football playoff, that those guys get together and they decide everything about how you crown the champion, the most important thing for a sport. So, besides the money. So all they have to do is take that next step and just make the rule book themselves and enforce it, and then actually have people who want to follow the rules. That's the biggest problem with the NCAA is nobody respects most of their rules now, and then the NCAA can't even enforce it anyways.
No, paper tiger in every single way. They don't have any way. They don't have an enforcement arm anymore. They don't have anyone to investigate. They don't have subpoena power. It's nonsense. So this potentially would give you a little bit of that. But quite honestly, fellas, I think as rules go in the old context of it, it's over. I saw somebody on social talking about complaining about Oregon buying recruiting classes. And I'm like, and?
It's allowed. That's like complaining about buying a free agent at this point in the NFL.
Next. Okay. Real Madrid gets all the players. Okay. I'm sure they got a lot of money. People want to play there. That's the way it works.
People were upset when colleges were just recruiting guys that weren't just already students back in the day. And now that's just, obviously now that's commonplace. So it changes.
It's the way of the world, kids. That's where we're at. 2 Buckeye quarterbacks. Our last 2 were both very, very good. The last 2 to get drafted the first round, as it were. Don't want to leave Kyle out. CJ, very good spot in Houston. Justin with a chance to prove. You'll hear from CJ and about Justin from a guy who ought to know coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
Find so many great deals with one stop at Meijer. Like this Friday and Saturday only. Get a $10 coupon when you spend $75 or more in-store. Coupon printed at checkout. Start redeeming next week. Plus, this week's hottest deals on Southern Peaches for 99 cents per pound. Fresh from Meijer Family Pack chicken breasts for $2.29 per pound. And select Meijer cheese 3 for $5. Meijer has all you need in just one stop. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in-store or in the Meijer app.
Soak up the savings this summer from Family Dollar. It's never been easier. Just download the Family Dollar app, sign up for smart coupons, and see how you can save more than ever before. Enjoy smoking hot deals on cookout classics or get ready for outdoor fun with SPF for the whole family. Plus pool toys, decor, and so much more. Check out the app today and get ready to save with the Family Dollar Summer Savings Event. New offers drop every week. Family Dollar, helping you do more.
When it comes to protecting your business, whether it's your staff, property, or assets, don't make a crucial mistake by contracting companies that provide subpar and unprofessional service. What you need is a security partner known for their unwavering professionalism and unnatural liability. You need Event Risk. Event Risk is a U.S.-based, veteran-owned company that not only specializes in on-site guarding, but also offers armed security associates and executive protection agents. Event Risk, elite protection for your peace of mind.
Hello, my name is Eric Rose, CEO and founder of Event Risk Security Services. We are a U.S.-based, veteran-owned company providing protection services and consulting to Fortune 500 corporations, movie studios, celebrities, and high-net-worth individuals. If you're tired of fluff margins with low compensation for poor-quality security officers and the endless revolving door of vendor staffing, then give us a try. For virtually the same cost, we can then address what keeps you up at night.
Visit eventriskinc.com.
If you miss a little, you'll miss a lot. Search for your favorite fan shows wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe. Every episode comes right to your phone absolutely free. Modern technology, it's a hell of a thing. Do it now. The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. For years, like me, you've heard their name on the radio, you've seen their ads on TV, you've seen their trucks driving around in your neighborhood, or you've been greeted with a smiling face at a local community event. Newman Roofing. That's right, they've built their reputation on honesty and professionalism within the Central Ohio community. As a company, Newman Roofing believes in giving back to the community who has supported them over the last 32 years. It's essential to developing those long-lasting relationships with their families. Tim is a small-town guy with small-town values, and when I met and talked with him and his team, you could tell how much they love the community they serve. And you can hear those stories and hundreds of 5-star reviews to how many people trust Newman Roofing with their project and how they meet their expectations. So when it comes to your roofing needs, call Newman Roofing to receive unparalleled customer experience. So give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF or newmanroofing.com. That's newmanroofing.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Don't be fooled by the name. Chops and Reeser are just acquaintances.
Are you guys just coworkers? It should be Bishop and acquaintances.
And acquaintances. That's what it should be.
I
guess Bishop and Friends sounds better.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey, listen to that. The old kid back in the mix. Yeah. He's back in the mix. Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss, fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. A solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. C.J. Stroud, Justin Fields, both first-round picks, both entering very different stages in their careers. C.J.'s ascent. It's funny. I've said this before. I think I was, because it didn't go according to plan for Dwayne, and it hasn't gone according to the plan for Justin, that maybe I was hesitant on thinking it would work for CJ as quickly as it did. That experience kind of scarred how people viewed CJ Stroud. Well, he's a dude. And if you're starting an NFL roster right now and you're looking for a quarterback, he's in the top 5 who would be picked to restart a franchise. He's going into year 2. There are enormous expectations on them. They already have a playoff win under his belt. We know that. And now they have another draft that is pretty loaded. They have a roster that, quite honestly, is pretty loaded. They have Stephon Diggs. And now it's just a matter of, can it all come together very, very quickly? And can he take that next step that sometimes happens in year 2? Here is CJ Stroud on preparing for year 2.
Yeah, it's night and day, man. It's really like I feel like I'm running the show. And I've got a lot more responsibilities from Slow and from D'Amico, from Gerard, Bill, and really our whole offensive staff. And I'm the captain of the ship, and I got to run it the right way. And I feel like I've, stepped into that role of just, not only holding guys accountable, but also, holding myself accountable to those moments. Like, I don't let anything slide, because that's the point of winning and losing. So I think from last year to this year, like, I've gotten a lot better with, like, controlling my emotions, controlling my ball placement, knowing what's NFL open, knowing my footwork better. Just really every little thing I've taken a step. And then on the other side of the ball, just everything slowed down, seeing coverage. D'Amico does a good job of blitzing me and, working on their different coverages or different looks. So start too high, go to 1, go back to 2, motion like his man, go to cover 2, like all that stuff to keep me true and honest. And, I think I've tried to do my best with my off-season study to, be better. And I feel like I've done that and had a good OTA so far. So got to finish with that mini camp. But it's been definitely a big transition of just more comfortability from last year to this year.
So that actually from back in June, yeah.
He went. They reported yesterday. He went 9-6 as a rookie. He completed 64% of his passes, 41.08, 23 touchdowns, 5 picks. He was the rookie of the year on the offensive side of the ball. He is a franchise quarterback in the truest sense of the word. As you hear him talking there, you just feel it. And yet you look at that and you go, yeah, I see how he could get better. I see how he could get that completion percentage up into the high 60s. I see how he could get those touchdowns to interceptions 35-5, something like that. There is room for improvement for a 22-year-old who was so good in year 1, in large part because he's going to be familiar. He's heading into year 2, and also because, my God, do they have weapons? They did not have this weaponry a year ago. Certainly by the end of the year, they didn't have Diggs, and they were pretty banged up by the end of the season.
Playing that clip also, he's talking about, it's night and day from year 1 and year 2. And not that CJ Stroud was ever not somebody who gave nice, poignant answers, but you can hear the veteranness only entering year 2 in the soundbite there. We listened to a ton of soundbites here, and especially with the college players, not just Ohio State, but across the board. It does sometimes feel like, they're just kind of parroting what the coaches say to them a lot, and they're 15 seconds long or so. That's a minute 12 long answer from CJ Stroud about all the stuff he's working with, and he wasn't just meandering, like he worked through a progression there. So even just that with the what's going on in his head, it sounds like, yes, he is ready to take this by the reins, and we saw that on the field. But now going into year 2, can they build on this down in Houston? And it feels like they can.
He sounds like a franchise quarterback. He sounds like the guy 28, 29 teams would love to have.
Yeah.
Not just the quarterback talent, but the presence, the confidence, the understanding of a pro-style offense. Like, this is why it felt so easy to answer that question. You're starting a franchise, so you got, I'll take Stroud.
Other than Kansas City, who says no?
That's it.
Maybe the Chargers, maybe the Bills, maybe
the Bengals.
Just injuries with Burrow,
yeah.
though.
But I mean, right now, Stroud is ahead of, what's his name down in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah.
Oh, by far.
It's a short list of teams that was emphatically say no. It's a very, very short list.
He's definitely getting picked above Bryce Young if they do that draft.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, and think about what Carolina gave up. I mean, oh, my goodness. Yeah, just critical mistake made there. So while CJ's experience in the NFL has been absolutely pristine, Justin Fields has not. But there is optimism from, I think, somebody who ought to know. This was Louis Riddick, who was on Get Up talking about Fields. Remember, he's in a competition with Russell Wilson. Louis Riddick has a very good handle on that Pittsburgh situation and also on Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator there. Here is Riddick on Get Up on Fields and his chance in Pittsburgh.
Talking to Arthur Smith and knowing him like I do, being around Mike Tomlin and knowing how, he really does covet guys with this kind of diverse skill set, I just don't see him being a one-and-done player. I don't see it simply because I don't think they really they brought him in there with that being the intention, number one. Number two, he's much better than just a one-and-done journeyman quarterback at this point in his career. And number three, I think the connection between him and Arthur Smith, and again, going back to how I started this, having talked to Arthur, known Arthur as long as I do, he loves this kid's skill set. He loves it. And I think his offense, being run-centric, heavy play-action-centric, quarterback design runs on third down in the red zone, the same kind of things he did with Ryan Tannehill when Tannehill took over in Tennessee for Marcus Mariota, this could be supercharged. So I think he's the future in Pittsburgh. I'm going to stay with that. I think he's the future. You're going to see Justin Fields out there in Western Pennsylvania for the foreseeable future.
It's all of those things for Fields check boxes. I think that Pittsburgh is one of the three most interesting teams in football this year in the National Football League for this reason. How do they manage Russell Wilson and Justin Fields? Is it Russ's team, and just how competitive are they competing? Who's the backup? Who's not? If it is Wilson who wins in camp, how long do they hold Fields off? They have got to get a look at Fields. They just have him for this year. That's it. They have to get a look at him. And if there is a chance for him to have success, that organization would seemingly be one where he could. So I'm rooting for him and hope that it goes well. And this, it was kind of, as someone who follows the Browns and pays close attention to the Bengals, it's kind of the one place you didn't want him, right? Because you felt like they could make it work there. But at the same time, for him, this feels like a great opportunity. We'll hit some emails coming up next. Also, higher or lower, ESPN's top 10 quarterbacks. We'll tell you where the league executives view C.J. Stroud. That is coming up in the second hour. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The two most mature people working at the radio station. And that's just because they wear pants. The pervert and the skivvies. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
At Pella, we use the newest technology to show you exactly how new windows would look on your home.
Well, we keep it simple at our window place. We use a number 2 pencil to draw what your house will look like with our new windows. See?
Oh, yeah. That definitely looks like a number 2.
Thank you, Leslie. Wait, I see what you did there.
Get the windows that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
It's time to start saving with deals for days at Giant Eagle and Market District. From the everyday essentials to your must-have branded favorites, Deals for Days has low prices on more than 1,000 items across the store. Don't delay. These discounted prices on your go-to groceries will only be available for a limited time. Learn more about Deals for Days at GiantEagle.com or dive into savings today at your local Giant Eagle or Market District.
You can always say good morning, but when you're about to enjoy golden biscuits and toasty hash browns at McDonald's, you say good morning.
And what better way to start your day than at McDonald's with the Sausage McMuffin, Sausage Biscuit, Sausage Burrito, or Hash Browns. Mix and match any two for just $3. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer, single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
NFL Plus Premium is your ticket to the NFL offseason.
With the first pick in the NFL Draft.
Catch all your favorite offseason coverage and stream exclusive content from the NFL Draft, training camp, free agency, and more. Relive the biggest plays from the season with full and condensed game replays.
He's in! Touchdown!
Plus, stay connected with 24/7 football news and coverage on NFL Network. Sign up today at plus.nfl.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Tiger Woods is on the prowl at Royal Troon as the first round of the British Open continues. Tiger's even through one, as are his playing partners Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay. Justin Thomas is your leader at 3 under. JT's in the clubhouse with a 68. Russell Henry is one of 4 golfers that are one back of Thomas at 2 under. Jason Day 1 under. Dustin Johnson even par. Last year's British Open champ Brian Harmon's +1. Brutal morning for Rory McIlroy. Double bogeys on 8 and 11 have him at 6 over. About 10 minutes from now, world number 1 Scotty Scheffler is going to go with Jordan Spieth and Cameron Young. In soccer last night at Lower.com Field, the Crew drew even with Charlotte FC 1-1. Black and Gold are at Atlanta United Saturday night at 7:30. Final game before the All-Star break. That'll be next Wednesday at Lower.com Field. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Earn a $200 cash bonus when you open a new free checking account at BMI. Visit BMIFCU.org/free.
Not interested in Iowa football? Too bad. Chops will tell you about it anyway. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour of the program here on a Thursday edition. Time for your emails. Let's open the mailbag. Hit it, fellas.
Our comment box is always open. Any feedback is mostly appreciated.
The mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let-up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in. Again.
Bishop and Friends present emails.
All right, another full mailbox this week. This one from Ed will start here. He goes Buckeye depth at running back. So this one came in this morning as I was lamenting the lack of depth there, provided something unfortunately were to happen to Travion or Quinshon, as happened in the video game. He writes, Buckeye depth at running back. Bo, how about Lincoln Kienholz as the next running back? He's supposed to be a great athlete, could run, throw in a situation you talked about. Lincoln Kienholz is going to be a fascinating case study at Ohio State, because in a quarterback, first of all, he is a superb athlete. He is an elite baseball player. Like, quite honestly, he's probably someone who could play baseball at Ohio State. Like, he's that good. He could be a 2-sport, and one of them could be baseball. You don't hear about guys doing that anymore, but he's that type of stud. He was a stud on the basketball court as well. That's what happens in a lot of those smaller states, rural communities. You grew up the way I did, where you played football in the fall and you play basketball in the winter and you play baseball in the spring. It's the way it goes.
I thought you ran track in the spring.
Well, I did. We went, we didn't have high school baseball, so baseball was in the summer. But yeah, 1 year I ran track, Chops. That's right.
Just one event you ran track.
I ran 2 events. I ran the 100 and 200 in the district, and that was it. Everything else, as I've told the story before, did not go well. I do think Lincoln is going to be fascinating and I think this quarterback room is going to be fascinating because there will be people who are going to poach it. And I think Ryan Day's attempt to keep, he's going to have to identify which ones he wants to keep, I think, pretty early. And then he's going to have to be willing to let the others go. And I think you have to be careful what you sign up for when you talk about a room that big. He is a superb athlete. Is he somebody who I could see playing safety? Something like that? Yeah, potentially. But my guess is he wants to be a quarterback. For example, I could see him being the starting quarterback at Iowa after McNamara leaves, and there was all those rumors that they were in on him this offseason.
That's what I was thinking is probably the future if you're looking into a crystal ball of what is going to happen to Lincoln Kienholz's career. Partly based on there's guys in front of him, the guys behind him are 5 stars. It feels like he's going to get lost in that shuffle, and with his athletic ability, he can go be a real dude for that next level down of program, like in Iowa or something like that. So I think that's where you're going to see him go. But he definitely has that mentality similar to Devin Brown of like, I'm going to go in there and compete while I'm here. He's not giving up and deciding to enter the portal now. It's just eventually I think that'll be the writing on the wall for him.
Couldn't you go ahead, Reese?
Well, I was going to say he's still got boats that are docked. Yeah. It was interesting because I'd forgotten about Lincoln when we discussed at the beginning of the show your dilemma last night on EA Sports College Football 25, where you're without Quinshon, where you're without Travion, you're without a left tackle, the offensive line shaky, and you're Will Howard trying to run the football for Ohio State's offense. And we had joked, what about Caleb Downs? I was like, well, maybe Aaron Nolan could get some time in there, considering he might have the best athleticism in that quarterback room, but Lincoln Kienholz might have something to say about that. Devin Brown might have something to say about that. But this is going to be It will be unfortunate for whomever can't, get the job because it's probably their dream. Fascinating and great for us to see how it unfolds.
They have more starting caliber players available at quarterback than running back.
Yes,
guess, essentially. That's not a great position, but it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a spot they're in.
Lincoln start in the Big Ten right now?
Penn State, Oregon, maybe USC.
They probably like their guys.
Michigan State, because they got the kid from Oregon State, and Jonathan Smith came over.
Could he beat out Hudson Card, fifth-year guy at Purdue?
Yeah, Nebraska. Because
I think his athleticism might have him over Drew Aller.
I just think,
Trace McSorley.
We talk to people. Well, Franklin would love that. But you talk to people around Penn State, and we talked to the PFF guys who said, Aller was a lot better than you're led to believe last year. A lot of people say that. That's starting to kind of be the conventional wisdom around
who
here.
would love Keenholz is Loxley out of Maryland. They need a quarterback.
Yeah. I just think, close to home, it just feels like he'll be at Iowa. It just feels like a home run for him.
No, offense. He plays offense.
That's true. Maybe they'll finally open it up. And then and Devin Brown can he can replace Cam Rising if he doesn't get his 10th year of eligibility at Utah.
I know quarterback's the star, but if you want to be a star, actually change the defensive back and go to Iowa. There you go. That's the star maker.
That works. All right, this from Nathan. Love the show and the college football standings issue. That's the quality. I'll tell this about Nathan. This is probably, God bless you, buddy. This is probably the most extensive. He's probably the biggest fan of the fan ever. He should be fan listener of the century. He has a 90-minute commute each way to work. So here's how his day goes. He writes, morning commute, previous day's Man and Bone. Work in the AM, that day's Morning Juice. Work in the PM, Rothman and Ice Live. Evening commute, that day's Bishop and Friends. Evening activities, the Buckeye Show. He consumes all of it daily. God bless you.
He takes the break for Man and Bone on that day, but then just gets them done in the morning during his commute. Wow.
It's unbelievable.
That's a great plan.
He goes, now that I'm done sucking up, I'm extremely nervous about the college football standings with the large conferences and unbalanced schedules. I know. My therapist tells me not to worry about stuff I can't control, but here we are. I predict a huge mess at the end of the season with teams only playing roughly half the conference and then trying to take the two best records for a championship game. It flat out doesn't make sense. The NFL does a really good job at making sure that each division member plays a balanced schedule with a slight tweak for competitive balance. College football has to get to a balanced schedule or this is going to be a mess. I know there's outcry over Big Ten for not playing the hits. Good job, Eddie, you quoting that. But you can't do that if the top teams all play each other and everyone has 2 or 3 losses due to competition. You could end up with a 9-3 Maryland versus 9-3 Minnesota championship game due to tiebreakers. So what do we think? Here's my idea and why I'm emailing you. Maybe we can get to 3s who can get this to Bjork, who can give it to Gene when he becomes the Big Ten commissioner. They're all listening, Nathan. Don't worry. They're like you. They're loyal. Add 2 more teams to get to 20. Let's assume for this purposes it's North Carolina and Virginia. And then he has 4 divisions of 5. Big Ten East, Penn State, Rutgers, Maryland, North Carolina, Virginia. Central, Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue. The North would be Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Northwestern. The West would be USC, UCLA, Washington, Oregon, Nebraska. You play your division and then one division on a rotating basis for your 9 conference games. So we're guaranteed to play each team once every 3 years and each school once every 6 years. And then he goes further into say 20 every conference is 20 teams. You're not going to get there. I think you could get to a point where the Big Ten and SEC each have 20 teams, and I think the Big Ten will be the first to go to 20, and I think the two that you listen very well, not only to listen a lot, you listen closely, Virginia and North Carolina would be the two that the Big Ten would, I think the Big Ten administrators would want. I think the television partners would want North Carolina and Florida State. But that is something to watch. You talk about this all the time with playing 10 conference games, playing 9, whatever it's going to be. What he says here, though, the issue he brings up, the 9-3 Maryland, 9-3 Minnesota, the SEC is already preparing you for that. That's coming. They aren't going to get through that unscathed.
Yeah, and 12 teams have to make it. That's the other thing I was saying yesterday. But I like this Nathan guy because he's saying things along the lines that I say that we do need a more normalized
I like people
schedule.
who agree with me.
Yes, but he does point out a very big problem with it. Sounds great and it looks great on paper. The idea that the two best teams will face off for the conference championship, and that works when everybody can play each other. It worked the best in the Big 12. Now you were always guaranteed a rematch, but everybody got to play each other, and so there really weren't all these crazy tiebreakers going down. The first year the Pac-12 did it, it had the example of that's kind of disastrous, that Utah, USC, and Washington all had the same conference record, all had the same overall record. But Washington didn't play Utah or USC at all that year, and whatever line of tiebreakers were the ones pushed out. So they didn't get a chance to defend it, and that's going to happen. But in the 12-team playoff, you actually might want to be Washington because you don't have to play that 13th game anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see, I think, a team either this year or next year, benefit from not playing in a conference title game. They might not win the national championship, but they might get that first round bye against the group of 5 jabroni state and actually be able to rest some of their players that are on the border of playing or not, and then go into the second round healthier.
You bring up a very good point, Reese. That 5 seed playing the group of 5 team that misses out on its conference championship, let's say Texas goes 10-2, and they miss their 2 losses are to Georgia and to
Michigan,
Oklahoma.
Sure.
Well, because it has to be a conference game.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I just go Oklahoma, and plus I don't want Michigan beating Texas. Let's say they're 10-2 and they have 2 conference losses, but they're sitting there 5th in the country after the conference championship games are played, and their opponent in the first round is Boise State, and you're sitting there rested.
So their 13th game is Boise State at home, whereas the 13th game for the loser of the SEC title game will be Georgia or something like that at a neutral site.
Yes, correct. Yeah, that's tricky. This from Matt. He writes, "Go Noles." As an FSU fan living in Columbus, I'm loving the Noles talk this morning. Thanks, Bo. You're doing an awesome job. Go Noles. My pleasure, Matt. Happy to help you. This one from Greg. He writes. This one he's right after my heart. Indiana sucks is the title of the email. I religiously listen to your podcast every day. Really enjoy the constant complaining about being a boy dad. Is it complaining or just illuminating? I hope it's illuminating. I love being a boy dad. He has 2 boys, 10 and 12. To give you background on myself, I've not missed one game in the Horseshoe in the great rivalry of Ohio State versus that school up north since 1998. I've seen some badass teams playing the shoe against that garbage. My father and I sat right in front of Harbaugh when he threw his clipboard like an angry child in 16. I grew up in a small town, Botkins, in northwest Ohio. Moved to Chicago in 05. Married my wife in 11. I've seen a lot of toll road disasters going through Indiana. But Thanksgiving 2012, I think my wife and I witnessed a wreck. Because typically the drive to Botkins is 4 hours. It took us 6.5 hours. His wife was pregnant with the first son. Every drive to Ohio, our boys say, why does Indiana take so long to get through? By the way, there are 2 seasons in Chicago, winter and road construction. He also writes, this is basically just a vent for him. As a Notre Dame hater, you might want to look at the schedule because Betty Crocker should be the new Irish mascot because the Irish schedule is filled with cupcakes. Notre Dame should make the playoff.
That's a hell of a line.
That really is. I constantly feel like I'm in the middle of Armageddon with all the Irish fans and that team up north fans. Well, we're glad to give you respite. My friend Greg, thank you for the email on that.
I can see why this guy likes it, as he phrased it, you complaining, because he seems to have a lot of gripes that he likes to air his grievances. A lot of grievances. In the chat today, we actually had somebody from that neck of the woods, too, Matt from South Bend. He said, hey, Bo, if you're headed to Indy this weekend and taking I-69 around Fort Wayne, it's an absolute mess due to construction. Just FYI. But there is a Portillo's there, and he also added, fun fact, the Indiana Toll Road isn't even owned by Indiana. It's owned by companies from Spain and Australia.
You got to be kidding me.
So who knows where that money goes?
Oh, God, Indiana, go to hell.
They just sold the road to somebody?
I don't know. That's what it looks like when you drive it. No, I'm going. I'm driving straight over. So we'll potholes. Here we go. That's what it's going to be tomorrow on that one. Scott gave me a comprehensive breakdown titled "Upcoming Massachusetts Lacrosse Trip."
Oh boy!
So his brother Alex sent the full itinerary for the Ohio State-Oregon matchup. Did I do that one on the show? Did I do that full itinerary?
No, I think that was one that we were going to hold off on.
Yeah, I saved it because we wanted to do it a little, because it's almost like its own segment, like planning out the road trips. So I saved that, but his brother sent it, so I have it, and I will get to that. And he was Scott here was stationed at Hanscorn Air Force Base for a few years along the Parle Revere site. He gave me all sorts of, I'm just thankful because it's just incredible. We have great listeners, incredible people, and this is awesome. All of these things that he shared with me for the trip to Massachusetts in terms of where to eat, where to drink, where to have a good time in the greater Boston area, where I will be next Wednesday. We'll do a little higher, lower coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Excuse me, waiter. There's a hair in my soup. A long purple hair.
I'm so sorry. I'll get the manager.
I'm the manager. How can I help?
Wait, weren't you the Plum Insurance mascot?
What gave it away? My long purple fur?
Something like that.
What if all insurance companies were like NJM and were known for putting their policyholders first, not gimmicks? Then all those insurance mascots would have to get real jobs.
I'll pass on dessert.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
Hi, it's me, Little Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture. I know, you don't know me yet, but I'm here to let you know that I'm opening up 2 brand new showrooms in the Columbus area, located in Reynoldsburg and Polaris, bringing even more of my everyday low prices to the people of Ohio. And if you can't wait, MyBobs.com is the quickest and easiest way to get unbeatable furniture prices delivered straight to your home today. That's my 2 brand new Bob's Discount Furniture stores coming to Reynoldsburg and Polaris this summer.
Get Bob's Discount!
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Hi, it's Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. Need a perfect gift? Check out the new line of Glock watches and other stunning jewelry at Worthington Jewelers. Make every occasion sparkle with Worthington Jewelers, where exceptional gifts await.
Great coaching can make all the difference, especially when it comes to your money. At Right Pac Credit Union, our financial coaches are on your team. We'll help you create a winning game plan that's customized for your unique needs, so you can make the most of your hard-earned money and live the life you want to live. Best of all, Right Pac Credit Union serves all of Central Ohio, so getting in the game is easy. Let's win together. Stop by one of our Central Ohio member centers to get started today. Equal housing opportunity, insured by NCUA.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV?
They're here.
Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
You know what's better than an Ohio Lottery scratch-off ticket? A winning Ohio Lottery scratch-off ticket. And now, with the new $1,000 tax-free scratch-off, you've never had a better chance to win $1,000. Seriously, this $20 game has 18,000 $1,000 winners. That's a lot of winners. And that's $1,000 after taxes. So, what are you waiting for? The $1,000 tax-free scratch-off from the Ohio Lottery. Your best chance ever at winning $1,000. Players are subject to Ohio laws and commission regulations. Play responsibly.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 mouth-watering choices with savings beyond low prices, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, you can save on red, white, or black seedless grapes. They're on sale for $1.49 a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Have you experienced foot or ankle pain during or after sports, running, or exercising at the gym? Nagging aches in your foot or ankle that won't go away? Podiatric physicians can provide you with important foot care solutions, shoe inserts, or show you how to support your feet and ankles so you're able to compete or exercise comfortably. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and have been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Weather forecast for today is looking beautiful. High pressure along with north winds will keep things sunny and quiet out there today. Look for sunny skies with a high of 80. Friday, look for sunny skies with a high around 81. And then heading into your Saturday, look for partly cloudy skies with a high of 87. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with a look at your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Hey, it's your Uncle Bo here. Erectile dysfunction is a terrible condition, causes stress in relationships, creates anxiety, undue hardships on a man, and oftentimes a partner as well. Yet many men suffer for years without seeking that treatment. It's an intimacy destroyer. Research shows that men can draw apart from their partners when ED affects the sex life, and the condition causes stress, anxiety, depression. Even worse, a man's partner can blame themselves when ED becomes a problem. Well, there is help on the way, and this is where you need to go see my friends at Tri-State Men's Health. Their treatments work where the pills and herbals fail. They have treatments with success rates over 90%. Do yourself a favor. Schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town. Your initial visit is just $99. Includes that medical consult, licensed medical provider, the TNPSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. Now, if the test dose doesn't work, the office visit is free. Friends, it's a no-lose win-win for you. Give them a call. Get your sex life back on track. 800-900-9654 or visit TriStateMen'sHealth.com today. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and near Medical Mile in Westerville as well on that side of things. Time for a little higher or lower. Hit it, boys.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. Trust the pros at The Waterworks for all your plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling needs. Visit thewaterworks.com today to get started.
All right, so this comes to us from ESPN. You got to be an ESPN Plus subscriber to read all of it. It's the NFL's position player rankings according to scouts, according to coaches, according to league executives, and the talking heads on ESPN. Jeremy Fowler is the one credited with kind of curating all of it. But he says nearly 80 voters submitted a ballot on at least one position, and in many cases, all positions. So throughout the week, they've done position groups best in the league. We are going to focus on the quarterback, the most important position, dare I say, in sport. So this is the top. This is the top 10 quarterbacks, again, according to about 80 coaches, scouts, executives, and ESPN talking heads. At number 1, can't go any higher than the top spot, but Patrick Mahomes sits there. Higher or lower from Mahomes at 1?
He's it. He's the classic second is eighth. No one's going to bet against him. They won 2 Super Bowls while going through a roster transition out of Tyreek Hill to going from this high-flying offense to a team that now is a spectacular defense. They still aren't totally sorted out at wide receiver. They still aren't totally sorted out at running back, and it all works because he is a wizard. He is alone atop the sport, second's eighth.
Yeah, all in all, they actually weren't that great of a team, especially in the regular season last year. It's not like they were dominant, but it's because they have Patrick Mahomes that they're still able to go on these runs. So they're going to go for 3 in a row. I mean, that's something that really just doesn't happen in the Super Bowl era. But yeah, he's number 1. It is interesting. On this list, they tell you where the guys ranked as far as what was their highest ranking, what was their lowest ranking from the votes. Somebody, at least one person, did put Patrick Mahomes 2. His lowest ranking is 2.
I mean, that person should not be asked back. I think this is the 5th year they've done this. Yeah, don't send him anything.
I was just trying to think, like, who would be... Well, I guess we'll figure out with who's second, but, like,
we'll see who else has a highest ranked one.
Who else has a highest ranked one, we'll provide
Josh
that.
Allen has a highest ranked one, so it could be somebody from the Northeast.
Okay, then that's...
I want to hear that explanation.
Yeah.
At number 2, it is not Josh Allen. He is 3rd. Joe Burrow. Higher or lower for Burrow at 2?
So this is a tough one because when he's healthy, yes, he's 2 when he's healthy. The list of people who have beat Patrick Mahomes in the postseason goes like this: Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, the end. That's the list. So when you are in that category, that checks boxes. But I do think one thing that has to be considered with Burrow is his health. He has played 4 NFL seasons. He has missed large chunks of 2 of them with catastrophic injuries. He has to get through a season and be upright. And so for that reason, I probably would not have him too, because durability is part of it. And availability for him is the thing that is most critical. And for half of his seasons, he hasn't been.
Yeah, it gets back to, we discuss this a lot of times when we're talking about higher or lower. Like, what are we ranking? Are we just ranking in a vacuum how good these quarterbacks are? Because, yeah, Joe Burrow can definitely be number 2 on this list. That seems accurate, but you're right about all those injury concerns. Another thing I do need to see from him, I don't take this as a drawback. It's not his fault, but I do want to see it, is what can he do a year where Lamar Jackson is also healthy the whole time? Because those 2 division wins for him were years where the Ravens were leading and Lamar Jackson got hurt and the Ravens kind of fell off there at the end of the season. So I want to see him bring the team to that. But when he has been healthy, they have won the division. They've gone to the AFC Championship game. They've gone to the Super Bowl in one of those years. Yep. So he's good. It's also important to note that this is for quarterbacks for the 2024 season. So it's different than you would draft Stroud top 5 if you were creating a franchise going into the future. Yes.
All right, so like I said, Josh Allen lands at 4. Josh Allen's at 3, Lamar Jackson's at 4. Matthew Stafford comes in at 5.
Whoa.
Higher or lower for Stafford there?
So this speaks to something that I've mentioned before on the program, especially when they were making their run. When you talk to NFL coaches, front office people, and players, they universally love Stafford. They love him. They love his toughness. They love his arm strength. They love his availability. They love him. To me, this seems a little high for Stafford at this stage of his career, but it could be argued that other than their Super Bowl win, and he had a crazy year in Detroit back when he had Calvin Johnson, that last year was maybe his most impressive season. Cooper Kupp gets down. They have a great year with Puka Nacua. They make the postseason. So he certainly is still great. You understand why McVay traded for him. It all has paid off. It seems a little high for me, though, based on his age now, but I get it.
Yeah, I think I would have him lower as well. It does seem a little bit high, but you mentioned how last year was, really coming back into form and actually even exceeding what his form was. Now, this isn't a perfect metric because it's a fan vote. Do you know Matthew Stafford only has 2 Pro Bowls? Wouldn't you have guessed?
Here's what's hard, though. That? Here's the problem with it. It does come off as a little bit surprising, but what's hard about the Pro Bowl All-Pro at quarterback is at All-Pro you only get 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have that many All-Pros. Like, last year, the All-Pro quarterbacks were Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott. So, like, when you look, that's what makes Manning's stuff so crazy, is that he played in an era with Favre, Rodgers, Brady, Roethlisberger, all of them, and he just hogged it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so hard to be the all-pro quarterback. It's something that almost never happens. Last year he made it. So last year, 63%, 24 touchdowns, 11 picks, 3,900 yards. The year they won the Super Bowl, he was 67%, 48-86, 41-17. He's 36 too. That has to be taken into it. So I think this is a little too high. His 3rd year in Detroit at age 23, that's the year I was talking about, in a 16-game schedule, 5,038 yards, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions.
The other thing I'm worried about him is he has been pretty healthy for his whole career, but at 36, that whole elbow, like tennis elbow thing he had a couple of years ago that maybe seems like it's gone, that's the kind of stuff that starts to rear its head as you get older, and you end up with Drew Brees who can't throw the ball down the field by the end of the season, and I think he is approaching that boat. I don't know when he's going to hit it, but he's going to hit that at some point, and I think he's going to be one of those guys who you can just see, the arm died.
So for some perspective, Tom Brady, who is a 3-time MVP, he is only a 3-time first-team All-Pro in a 20-year career. Only 3 times. He was a 3-time second-team All-Pro. That's how ridiculous that is. That Pro Bowl thing. So when you think, he was a 15-time Pro Bowler, but just in terms of the All-Pro thing, that's what makes Manning's stuff. And I know we're up against it here, so we'll finish it out with this Manning thought just to kind of hammer home the point of how hard this thing is. Peyton Manning is a 5-time MVP. He is a 7-time first-team All-Pro and a 3-time second-team All-Pro. So 10 times he was viewed by his peers as the first or second best quarterback in football. 10 times in his career. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's how hard it is.
How many years did Manning play?
I think he's 15.
Yeah. So, man, 2/3 of the years.
Yeah, he's a 14-time Pro Bowler. But that's why it's so difficult. Coming up next, SEC Media Days coming to a conclusion. Our good buddy Heath Cline, our SEC Bureau Chief, executive producer of the Chuck Oliver Show on 680 The Fan in Atlanta. He will join us coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Are Men and Bone stupid in real life? Yes. Yes, they are. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. You want a picnic with Giannino's Family Feast? A large one-topping pizza, 8 pieces of fried chicken and JoJo's, and a pint of coleslaw.
Giannino's Pizzeria, with locations in Pickerington and Westerville.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself, or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See? We didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
As a local family-owned and operated company, Newman Roofing takes great pride in providing great customer experience and quality product to every job they do. From the first phone call to the end of your project, they'll know who you are. Don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Call 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Find so many great deals with one stop at Meijer. Like this Friday and Saturday only. Get a $10 coupon when you spend $75 or more in-store. Coupon printed at checkout. Start redeeming next week. Plus, this week's hottest deals on Southern Peaches for 99 cents per pound. Fresh from Meijer Family Pack chicken breasts for $2.29 per pound. And select Meijer cheese 3 for $5. Meijer has all you need in just one stop. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Hello, loyal listener. Make sure to spend your summer with The Fan. Are you going on a road trip? Don't suffer through the bad playlists and hillbilly radio stations. Download the Fan app and take us with you. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Red Hot savings at Logan Services. Save up to $2,700 off a train system and pick one freebie to keep your home extra comfy. Book your free estimate now. Fast, friendly service, Logan Services.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. 2 things about me. 1, I love Valley Ford. And 2, I love cars. Muscle cars, classic cars, all the cars. That's why I love Cars and Coffee at Valley Ford of Columbus this Saturday. It is the day to drive in your vehicle and show it off. There's no fee for any type you have, so tell your friends too. Come on out and see all the great cars and trucks this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Valley Ford. There will be food and fun for everybody, so come on out and bring your ride. Valley Ford of Columbus, Cars and Coffee this weekend. Be there.
Come play Skyline's 75th Coney Hunt game. Use your phone to search for virtual conies, tap to collect coins, and redeem them for exclusive Skyline merchandise at participating Skyline restaurants for a limited time. Details at skylinechili.com/Coney Hunt.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
SEC Media Days this week down in Dallas. For some perspective, some boots on the ground, we go to our SEC Bureau Chief, the great Heath Cline, joining us live in Dallas on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. He was, of course, executive producer of the Chuck Oliver Show, 680 The Fan in Atlanta as well, and he joins us there live in Dallas. Hey, buddy, thank you so much for the time. Let's start right off the top with Sankey and his comments from earlier in the week. This is the first time that we've had kind of this big stage with all the questions, and Sankey and Petiti going to kind of run the sport along with their television partners going forward. Was it what jumped out to you in his comments from earlier in the week?
I mean, honestly, Sankey Bo he's a guy that he doesn't do a lot in the big room that excites you very much. And he's just very, very careful, very lawyerly in what he says. But I do think he made a pretty good effort to shut down the notion that the SEC is looking to add more teams. I think that he is very comfortable, I think, right now with the idea that, well, what you said, the SEC and the Big Ten have kind of made their moves, and if you got on the other side of the velvet rope, good for you, and if not, well, that's not really their problem unless they see something that excites them, and I don't think there's anything out there that the SEC right now perceives as available that is an exciting play. FSU, no matter how many different ways they try to proclaim that they have this big, bright future for themselves, if they do, it is not one that is being eagerly sought by the people in Birmingham. I can just tell you that much.
Yeah.
They are not looking for them. They are not looking for Clemson. Neither of them. It's not that they're not good programs. It's not that they couldn't compete in this conference. They're not needed in this conference at all. They don't add something that they're looking for. UNC, if they come available, different conversation. But UNC right now is the one trying to burn the ACC down. So at the moment, at least, the SEC, I think, very comfortable with where they are and curious to see how this works to integrate these teams in because, remember, they're working with a 2-year schedule plan. Like they haven't been able to work out a long-term tiebreaker. Think about this, Bo. We are here in Dallas, and the season starts in like 5.5 weeks. There's not a tiebreaker plan for a conference with no divisions on how you're going to pick the championship game. They're still trying to sort through all that. They're still trying to figure out what the long-term schedule formula is. They haven't been able to get ESPN to give them money for a 9th game instead of 8 conference games. So right now they're stuck on 8, even though they need to go to 9 to make the schedules make more sense. So they got their own issues and a lot of them to work on. And I think right now for the next couple of years, they're very comfortable just focusing on that and not broader expansion.
No conference tiebreaker is known? Did I hear you say
Not
that?
Yet. Yep, that was part of the conversation on Monday. Now, he said, we can get it done. He's like, we can. It's like, well, that's great. It's like you say, I can do so. I could clean out the garage. Hypothetically, I could clean out the garage. I'm just not going to do it today. The plan is that, yes, before the season, they say they will have a tiebreaker. But this is how complicated this thing is because before, better or worse, you knew, hey, win your division, go to the title game. You might not be even the third best team in the conference some years, but you're in the title game. Now you have a bunch of teams that aren't going to play each other. So what is the process going to be like? It's been more about eliminating things. Like they've made it clear they're not going to let the College Football Playoff Committee rank them because they can't do that and because they're not going to put it in somebody else's hands. So we know it won't be the playoff rankings. We know head-to-head is obviously the number one determiner, but a lot of these teams aren't playing each other, so what do you do next? And we have no idea yet.
Wow. You, of course, are joining us from Dallas. That's not by accident, home of the Red River Shootout for all those years and will continue to be. What was your welcome to the SEC, Texas, and Oklahoma moment this week?
Honestly, I think it's been fascinating because the Texas people, I know this will shock you, Bo, but it seems like they're a little arrogant about some things. And I find this program fascinating because I've spent some time in Austin. I like the city a lot. I've been around their athletics program a little bit, been behind the scenes. For a program that seems on paper to have incredible resources, their history says they are not special. They're good, but they're not special. I mean, if you don't believe me, go back and look at every coach's performance since the days of Darrell Royal. Mac Brown, even in his best era there, he did win a national title. Kudos to him for that. He won a bunch of games. He almost never won the Big 12. Like this program, they believe they are this dominant program, and there is absolutely zero evidence to support that notion for decades. And they are thinking we are going to come into the SEC and basically right away we're either going to win it or we're going to be number 2 year one. And by 2 years in, we'll be running this joint. And meanwhile, Oklahoma, who's been winning the Big 12 over and over, has people saying, maybe 7-5. I don't know. It's fascinating the perceived difference between these programs versus what they have historically been for the last 40 years.
Yeah, OU's the Mount Rushmore program, not Texas. I mean, they're the ones that have the national titles and the Heismans and the conference championships and all of that. And yet Texas is the one. I guess it's just that state, that brand that is just so coveted and kind of always has been. You mentioned the teams that are coming in Texas and Oklahoma. I want to ask you about the guy who is no longer there. That is, of course, Saban. Although he is there, he's just on television now. How big did his shadow loom over the proceedings this week?
It hasn't been as big a story as you would think it might be, and I think part of that is because we are in Dallas, which just the fact we're here, the fact Texas and Oklahoma are here, it's just so weird for everybody. I mean, the first time I went to this event was 1996. We were at a hotel in downtown Birmingham, and there were 5 tables for Radio Row. And there are 44 tables here. Now, they're not all radio stations. Some of them are podcasts, whatnot, but 44 tables at this thing this year. Not to mention ESPN has like 9 sets all over the place. So Saban being here was certainly a factor. And there's no doubt that for those who have not watched on TV, he's been on ESPN set in the main room. There's the one big ballroom where they talk to everybody and then they go around to different rooms for different stuff. But ESPN, one of their sets that he is on is in the main room. So you literally have the players in the room talking or the coach in the room talking while Saban is sitting there listening to them. If you're Kalen DeBoer, that definitely has to make for kind of a weird day. Mm-hmm. But he hasn't been on Radio Row himself. He hasn't done a lot of talking independently of ESPN like a lot of their analysts do. So it hasn't been as much of a story as you would think. If it's next year and this was in Atlanta, I think it would feel like that's a bigger story than at least today and this week it has been.
Is there a team, Heath, that you came in thinking one way and then after the week is done you thought, well, they might be a little better than I thought, and then the opposite of that? Is there a team that maybe you were a little higher on and then you get to some conversation about people that cover the team, people around the program, you think maybe they're a little worse off than I thought?
The one that's going to be fascinating is Florida, because there are some people at Florida who genuinely do believe we're a lot better than we think, or than people think. People have already written Billy Napier off. They're like, this dude's getting fired. And even if you don't believe he's going to get fired because he's a bad coach, just look at his schedule. He's got no chance of making a bowl. And if you're in year 3 and you're missing a bowl, you're going to get fired. They think that they're better than people believe. Graham Mertz was way better as a quarterback than anybody thought he could be. But here's the conundrum they've got. The number one thing, the best chance Napier has of surviving to get to 2025 is a kid named DJ Lagway, 5-star quarterback, supposedly, even by 5-star standards, a really special 5-star. And so you got a veteran quarterback. That's normally a guy you want to feature, but they have got to get Lagway into games, both because they need his athleticism, but also because they need something for fans to be excited about. And so basically you need him to be Jimmy Chitwood and say, if Billy Napier as Norman Dale isn't coaching the Gators next year, then I'm going home to Texas and playing for the Aggies or something. You need DJ Lagway to be that thing that secures your future for one more year, because the Florida people that I know believe that if they could just get through this nightmare of a schedule, the next year especially, they could finally kind of turn the corner. So that's one. They play Miami week 1. If they lose that game, Bo, and they're an underdog at home to Miami in that game, they lose that game, fans don't want to hear another word, because they're going to look at the last 5 games on their schedule. They got Texas in there. They got Georgia in there. They got FSU in there. Fans will already have every one of those games chalked up as an L the second they lose to Miami at home. And by the way, if they lose to UCF at home, which is not out of the question, then that's game over immediately. So they've got to win that Miami game or everything changes immediately for the perception of their season. But that's the one that I'd say maybe there's the biggest gap between what people think they are and what they think they could be. And the one that I am mystified by, Mississippi State, their fans think that they're ready to do something. I don't see it at all. Like, you follow college football pretty seriously. Could you name one player at Mississippi State, Bo, if I offered you 100 crisp American dollars right now? Could you do it?
Is Dak Prescott still there? I don't know. You got to go a ways back, brother.
I mean, even in this conference, this has been like a challenge we've asked each other. Can you name a Mississippi State player other than their quarterback who transferred in, Blake Shapen? And the answer for most people is no. There are people with Mississippi State who think they're going to be in a bowl team, and if they are, then Jeff Lebby deserves to be a Coach of the Year candidate, because I do not see it at all. But for some reason, they are under the impression, hey, we're pretty good. Third coach in 3 years, good luck with that.
Good Lord. I know you're busy. We really appreciate your time and perspective today, my friend. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of it.
Anytime, man. Catch you later on.
That's our great friend Heath Cline. He is our SEC Bureau Chief. He is the executive producer of the Chuck Oliver Show, 680 The Fan in Atlanta as well on that. Did you guys hear what he said right there, though? And that's what makes it different. Mississippi State, pecking order Big Ten, the equivalent of that would probably be like Minnesota. Like, Mississippi State thinks they can go. They think they can go. Like, they believe it. They have false hope.
They always believe it. Remember the Vanderbilt coach Clark Lee?
Yeah.
Last year at SEC Media Days?
They just believe it. It's crazy.
It's like Illinois coming out and being like, yeah, we're taking the conference this year.
Watch us, playoff team. Imagine Bielema next week.
I imagine
if he went out and Indy and was like, oh, yeah, we're winning it. We're winning the league.
I imagine a lot of SEC fans try to do their own wiring when there's a home project. Man's got to know his limitations.
They do. They really do. With Thing or Not a Thing up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for three things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
We know your golf game is ugly, but your course doesn't have to be. Experience the natural beauty of Delaware Golf Club today. Delaware Golf Club is now open to the public and only 10 miles up the road from 270. For the best rates, book your tee time online at DelawareGolfClub.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, here to introduce you to Tansky Power Sports. That's right, check out our growing inventory of golf carts, electric bikes, and dirt bikes. And the fleet keeps growing. This month, come rent a golf cart for the 4th of July. We're located at 2491 West Dublin Granville Road in Columbus. Visit TanskyPowersports.com to book yours today. And when you think power sports, think Tansky.
Think Tansky. Think Tansky.
At UDF, our made-from-scratch peach ice cream is back with a bonus. When you buy 3 48-ounce cartons, you can quickly stack an extra 20 cents a gallon in gas savings. UDF peach ice cream, made for you, while supplies last with an opted-in UDrive account.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Wouldn't it be fun if we went back and aired old Buckeye games where they kicked the crap out of people? It's happening, baby. Join Timmy Hall for Buckeye Replay, Saturday at 1.
This week, Ohio State and USC in the 2017 Cotton Bowl.
The Fan.
You know that thing you've always been too scared to go for? It seems like you'll never have the guts. Then a cancer diagnosis. And doing that thing becomes way less scary. I would know. I've always wanted a black belt. And today, the only thing standing in my way is a few wooden boards. It's been a lot of hard work and 5 years since I beat cancer at Ohio Health. Bring it on. You keep making plans.
Visit ohiohealth.com/keepmakingplans to learn more.
Attention, boating enthusiasts. Bennington Factory demonstration models are at Buckeye Lake Marina. These exclusive demo units are loaded with the features built to dazzle at shows and exhibits. And guess what? They're all brand new with a full warranty. Some have never even touched the water. Hold on to your mooring ropes because we're offering dock-shaking discounts up to $40,000 only at Buckeye Lake Marina. These deals are hotter than the summer sun and won't last long. Visit Buckeye Lake Marina and make your dream boat a reality today. BuckeyeLakeMarina.com, where your adventure begins.
Attention aspiring media stars. Are you ready to take your talent to the next level? Register for your chance to win the Be On Air Summer Slam contest. This is your chance to showcase your skills in a thrilling 30-second live script challenge. Visit now at studiocontest.com to secure your spot and compete for amazing prizes, including a 4-hour studio session, Shure MV7 microphone, and Audio-Technica M20X headphones. Don't miss out on this dynamic event. Be On Air Summer Slam contest, where talent meets opportunity. Visit studiocontest.com and sign up today.
I've been doing this for almost 35 years. I learned everything from my grandfather. We still do everything old school. We do things the way I was taught to do them. We take care of our employees, we take care of their families, we take care of our clients. That's part of running a good business. We will always do business the right way, which I feel is the only way.
Visit Rosati Windows and save 35% on all windows.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Time for a little thing or not a thing on a Thursday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
First one up today, ESPN with this write-up. Kevin Sullivan broke Freddie Adu's long-standing record as the youngest player to feature for a senior MLS side when he took the field for the Philadelphia Union in their match against the New England Revolution on Wednesday. Sullivan, who is 14 years, 293 days old, and was called into the senior squad for the first time on Tuesday, came on late in the second half to break the record held by Adu in a runaway 5-1 win for the Union. The young American signed the largest homegrown contract in Major League Soccer history on May 9th in a deal that stipulates Sullivan will transfer to English Premier League power Manchester City after he turns 18. Thing or not a thing?
All of this seems like a thing. A 14-year-old playing professional sports is a very, very big thing. The thing I'm curious about is, what does this look like when he is 18?
Because it didn't work out for Freddie Adu.
It did not. So does he develop in a way that is required for him to be someone who could go to Manchester City and actually be in the team? You can be on the team, but can he be in the team? Can he get minutes? How good is this kid? He's obviously very good at this age, but he's still at a critical juncture of his development in terms of size, speed, strength, all of those things. Clearly he has the skill. But do all of those things come round into form so that this works for what he can be at 18? That, to me, will be the interesting part of this, is if this experiment works.
It's an incredible thing. I don't know how much of it, or if you've seen the video of him checking in, and he's standing next to the referee, and there's a kid next to a grown adult. And it's like, that's kind of what you're going to face when you get over there. When you get over to Manchester City, I don't know how, if he goes through their development system once he turns 18 there and then maybe makes his debut at 19, 20, but 14 years old, like, you miss so much of your life to this. Like, what's he going to want to do with soccer when he hits his 18th birthday? It's like,
but what would you do?
All he's done is soccer.
If in like 2 years NBC called you up and was like, "Hey, the PLL called. I'm actually going to go play professionally this weekend."
At least you could go see him when he's going around the country. This kid's going all the way over to England.
It is helpful. His older brother is on this Philadelphia team, so that probably helps him a little bit.
Okay, so their family's really locked in. I'm looking at this kid now. He's 5'7". Wow. I don't know. It's a hell of a question. As a parent, we don't have there's nothing like this of a point of reference, but just from the standpoint of like how much is too much is something that I grapple with constantly with the youth sports. So you think about what this kid had to do to get to this point. It had to be soccer around the clock. Mm-hmm. Had to be. And like, is there a burnout? And that's why I said I'm most interested in what happens at 18.
Yeah, forget being good at the sport. Is he still going to want to play it into his professional life?
You said he was 5'7". Okay, so he's a giant. Never mind. Looking up at a 14-year-old, so that's what I want to hear. The Dallas Wings beat the Indiana Fever 101-93 last night on Big Boy ESPN. Caitlin Clark scored 24 points and had 19 assists in the loss. Sheesh. That's the most recorded assists by a player in a single game in WNBA history. She also reached a milestone of 400 points and 200 assists in the third quarter of their loss. Clark reached that milestone in just 26 games, and ESPN says that's the fewest career games needed in NBA history. Sue Bird had that record of 33 back in 2002. Thing or not a thing?
Well, here's why it's a thing, because what she has proven is that she is, a top 10 player on the planet in year one. She's on a bad team, historically bad team. They've improved tremendously. They take the loss last night, so J.C. Sheldon and the Dallas Wings get the win on this. So good job out of her. But what she's doing historically cannot be ignored. It's not just ratings. Like, there is a ton of substance. We all knew that, but people wanted to cast her aside and say she wasn't ready. It was going to be a rude awakening. No, it's been fine. She's more than fine.
Reeser listed some of those stats right there, and there were even more of them, and she keeps coming up with stuff like that. And so it's not the same right now, and the phenom that like Shohei Ohtani has been, but it's similar neighborhood where like you keep having to list these stats that are very specific, but also like, man, nobody else has ever done this. And so it'll be interesting to see like how many more of those she can come by just playing her game out there. She leads the WNBA. I watched some of this game. I didn't realize she was having such a good game because they were down basically the entire time. So I didn't finish it, but coming into the game, it had, the little card while she was walking into the arena, and she leads the WNBA in assists right now. And after 19,
I believe we had that.
Yeah, after 19 last night, she's going to continue that. So she's at 8.2. The next closest is Alyssa Thomas at 7.6. And the thing she has to cut down, though, is she also leads the WNBA in turnovers, 5.6. She had 6 last night, so she's still working on that. But it does feel like her teammates have really taken to her passing. Is like Aaliyah Boston has really taken off in like the second half of this first half of the season, the second quarter of the season. So it's very impressive, and she is a great passer, and then she can add that scoring to it as well. And we knew that would translate. It just took some time for it to get everybody to get used to it around her, I think. But because she passes so much and takes so many chances, that's also the turnovers, which she does have to bring down. From ESPN, an official for the U.S. Department of Education, the federal enforcer of gender equity in sports, said Title IX rules will apply to future revenue dollars that schools share with college athletes, but the department declined to offer guidance on how schools should distribute the money between men and women to comply with the broad language of the law. Catherine Lamont, the assistant secretary for the department's Office for Civil Rights, said in a written statement to ESPN, quote, schools must provide equal athletic opportunities based on sex, including with respect to benefits, opportunities, publicity, and recruitment, and must not discriminate in the provision of financial aid in the new NIL environment. These same principles apply, end quote. The NCAA and its power conferences agreed in May for the $20 million, all that stuff. The department did not answer a question about whether the revenue share dollars would be deemed financial aid, which would be required to be distributed to men and women athletes proportionally based on roster spots. To date, every dollar a school provides directly to its athletes has been intended to cover educational expenses and thus has been considered financial aid. Thing or not a thing?
If there was a solution in there somewhere, I would say thing. But there doesn't appear to be.
It
feels like here's all of the problems.
Thing, yeah.
Right, but there is no solution to it. And so it's almost as if that this was a rudderless ship for about 15 years. That's really... Every time there's one of these, every time somebody goes in court and gets spanked, it's like, oh, yeah, there's been no guidance for 20 years, despite knowing this was all coming.
Yeah, not a thing. What Catherine Lamont said, that was a word salad.
Yeah.
That provided us what we knew and nothing what can we do?
Like, how is a compliance office supposed to comply with Title IX when the people in charge of Title IX say, we don't know what you should do?
Honestly, it's enforcing.
I'm not in favor of like people losing jobs, so just redistribute them. But do you even need compliance anymore? What are you complying with?
Somebody has to check the rules, but that's the problem is the rules are always changing. So you still need compliance because nobody knows what the rule is that week or that year.
Are we still worried if they're eligible? Is anybody even worried about that anymore?
Your kid has a 1.0 GPA and still playing at
He's
Louisville.
doing fine. By the way, those idiots they're like, we want to start as like 1 stars. So like Beamsy is playing a season with Kennesaw State. I said, what are you getting out of that? What are you getting out of that? Like, come on, man.
Got that dog in him, just looking to grind.
Just trying to grind it out, man. 20 most interesting, perhaps the biggest threat to the Buckeyes this season. An argument could be made. Your Oregon Ducks coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here for my friends at RCD RV. Remember your favorite summer vacation as a kid? Well, I sure do, and I can tell you those memories will last forever. And there is still time to create those memories with your family when you visit the fine people at RCD RV. You can literally go anywhere in an RV. The mountains, the lake, road trip of a lifetime. RCD has over 600 new and pre-owned RVs in stock, something for every budget. Visit them at one of their 3 Central Ohio locations or online anytime at rcdrv.com.
The Beat the Heat fan campaign is underway. Help Ohio's most vulnerable residents this summer. Purchase new box fans and take them to the nearest Franklin, Madison, or Marion County fire station. The Fan 10 TV Beat the Heat fan campaign is sponsored by Newman Roofing.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. And here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. It's the afternoon in Scotland, so the PM crew's out at Royal Troon, moving through the first round at the British Open. Up and now down for Tiger Woods, who followed up a birdie putt on 3 with a bogey on 4 and a double bogey on 5. Woods is +2 on the day through 4. Justin Thomas is your leader in the clubhouse. He shot a 3 under 68 this morning. 5 golfers are one back of JT at 2 under. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler shot bogey on 1. He's +1 through 2. Jordan Spieth's even through 2. Rory McIlroy probably won't see Saturday. He shot a 7 over 78 earlier. And in baseball, Major League Baseball resumes the regular season Friday. Reds are at the Nationals at 6:45. As for the Guardians, Cleveland will host San Diego tomorrow night at 7:10. Guardians 4.5 up on the Twins in the AL Central. This update is sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
So in all of the time that I've known Joshua Perry, going back to his high school career, I had never heard the story about how he ended up with 37 until today. And he tweeted this out about 20 minutes ago. He said it came in wearing 15. So they issued him 15 out of high school. He said he had it for the first few games of his freshman season. Then Devin Smith, who also wore it that year, when he got put on the same special teams as Devin Smith, I got stuck with 37. The next year, Devin switched to 9. I stuck with 37, and then Zeke made 15 famous. So that's how it all how it all happened. He's always long said that he thought 37 is a terrible number. I actually think it's pretty great for a linebacker. I like to see him in 37, 47. I think those are cool numbers for linebackers.
There's something about linebackers that it seems like they get these Ohio State linebackers, at least two that we know, get these numbers by accident, and then they become they're imprinted in your head, because Three's had a similar story where he listed a couple of ones he wanted. No, you can't get that. No, you can't get that. Turned down 36 and then took 33 instead.
Well, yeah, didn't he want 3? And there was a defensive back out of Glenville that had 3?
Yeah, because that's what he always says about being a 3-star from Wayzata. So, he didn't really get to pick. And as they went down the list, he's like, okay, I guess I'll do 33. Rest is history.
I think the reason for that is linebackers usually aren't incredibly high maintenance.
They're not the divas of the team.
They're not, hey, I got to have
just going to be like,
digit.
Yeah, that's fine. That number's cool.
That's fine. I'll make it work. And honestly, at linebacker, I think you can make almost any number work. I would argue that the worst number you can be issued as a football player is one that NBC got his first year playing tackle. They do this thing where, nobody gets the number they want because you have to earn it. Nobody gets a cool number, so you always got to wear junk. You'll have a quarterback wearing 80, just stupid stuff.
So do random kids end up with cool numbers?
Yes. Random kids end up with single digits. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Which is, whatever. They probably don't even care what number they are. You know what I mean?
I think that's the lesson here, right? Just don't care.
Just don't care. I guess that's the idea. So anyway, he ended up with 46. And I remember thinking to myself, the only people I could think of who wore 46 was Todd Christensen, and there was a Cardinals safety named Tim McDonald, in the 90s. And Todd Christensen was a Raiders tight end. That's it. I couldn't think of another 46 anywhere.
Lee Smith of Major League Baseball?
It's not much. I can work, and 49's pretty rough. That's usually 46, 48, 40, 49, 47. Something with a 7 always looks kind of cool. But all the rest I could work with. But I'm like, buddy, I can't help you with 46. 46, 48, 49, I think.
Lou Groza wore number 46. There you go. Be a kicker.
Except he's famous for 76.
So there you go.
So or is it 72? I can't even remember.
I don't know. I'm on pigskindispatch.com, so who knows how true it is. But some of the names on here, Herm Edwards wore it.
Yeah, it's 76 Lou Groza Boulevard.
Yeah, 76, yeah.
That's where your office is.
I got to go there every day in the office. I get driven there, so I'm not really paying attention. Take the chopper. All right, 20 most interesting. Hit it.
As college football draws near, Bishop and Friends present the 20 most interesting programs. Spoiler alert, Rutgers isn't one of them.
No, but Oregon is. New Big Ten member, Oregon. It is alarming, I will tell you, when you play them, as I did on the video game yesterday, to see the Big Ten logo on their field, to see the logo on their jersey. It's a crazy thing that it's happened, that Oregon is in this league. It is something they coveted. It's something Phil Knight worked, I think, tirelessly behind the scenes to get done. They brought someone with them in Washington, but it was Oregon who drove this. I think and we'll do Washington probably sometime next week, but I think if you were to ask people at UW, they would say we would have been fine sticking with the Pac-12, but it was Oregon who really push this, and they got their wishes on it, and they come in guns a-blazing. They are 12-2 a year ago, 8-1 in the Pac-12. Their only 2 losses are to Washington last season. They lost to them twice, but that's it.
3 points each time, by the
way.
way.
Very close games. They are even more mobilized than they were. I think when people think peak Oregon, they think of Chip Kelly. But Chip was there for such a short period of time. It's just 09, 10, 11, and 12, and then he's gone. It was Mark Helfrich who was the coach in 14 when we played them for the national championship. The program was really stabilized under Rich Brooks, who was there in the late 70s through the mid-90s, and then it escalated to an entirely different level with Mike Bellotti and the partnership with Nike. It was the uniforms. That's what did it. It was uniforms, it was facilities, it was all those things. And it's not lost on me that this current version of Oregon is benefiting also tremendously from Nike, from Phil Knight, from the amount of money that they're willing to spend in the portal on recruiting. They are killing it.
But it's not fair.
They are recruiting. They are recruiting in a way that Ohio State recruits. They're recruiting like Georgia. They're recruiting like Alabama. Their returning team is absolutely loaded. There's going to be a bunch of new starters on defense, but on offense, they're going to bring in Dylan Gabriel, who was really good last year at Oklahoma. Evan Stewart comes in from Texas A&M. He was a big-time recruit out of high school. They probably have the best top-to-bottom receiving core in the country, top to bottom. I think I heard Phil Steele say that earlier this week on Rothman and Ice. Their schedule is pretty ambitious. They do get Oregon State early, so they are going to play that Civil War game. They're going to play it early. They're obviously going to host us. They're at Michigan. They're at Wisconsin. They get Washington as well. But they are ready for this. And I'm going to tell you what, can either of you, if you haven't looked it up already, name me the last two coaches at Oregon before Dan Lanning? The previous two coaches at Oregon.
Mario Cristobal.
Yep.
And I don't know the next one.
That's the bingo card right there.
That's a blank for me.
Willie Taggart. They went from Chip Kelly to Mark Helfrich, and it wasn't going well. And so they ended up with Willie Taggart. He goes to Florida State after 1 year at Oregon, fails miserably at Florida State. I mean, just as miserable as you can be. He is then fired at Florida State. They get Cristobal, who I think deserves a lot of credit because, remember, he's the one who came in here and beat us here. And what that was about was physicality. Mario Cristobal was probably the first Oregon coach, maybe since, I don't know their history well enough, but he was one of the first ones that was like, we need to recruit some big physical dudes. So, because if we're going to aspire to beat Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State, and he did here in the shoe, we're going to have to be physical with them. And so it wasn't just on speed and flash and offense. They've always had that. But now we have to be physical, and we got to be able to punch people in the mouth. Cristobal started that, and then Dan Lanning supercharged it. And Lanning was offered the Bama job, and he didn't take it. So he knew that what he had at his disposal at Oregon would be able to be on par with that. And that's a remarkable thing, that he can recruit the way that he's recruiting it, that he can portal the way he's portaling it. It's an easier path than it would have been having to go to Alabama and get in the snake pit that is the SEC. And they are coming in here something what we thought USC would be, which is guns ablazing. The best a program is coming into a new conference. The argument is not between Ohio, or rather USC and Oregon. The argument for the program coming into a new conference, the best right now, is an argument between Texas and Oregon. Those two both come in really, really healthy. This is a monster team. I think it's clearly the second best team in the Big Ten. It has an argument to be right there with Ohio State as the preeminent program in the Big Ten heading into this season.
It's crazy that when you think of Oregon, you think of the Ducks, the things that pop into your head are those high-flying Chip Kelly offenses, and they would continue that, and they still have a lot of great athletes. But then you talk about Cristobal and Lanning, and those are two defensive guys that they've brought in, and they've kind of figured out how to combine, okay, we can be Oregon and have that offensive stuff, but how do we get the defense? And that's where you go with like punch them in the mouth and be strong and go for it. So I think they're really well positioned to join the Big Ten. Dan Lanning, I think also he's the example of, because we joke about it all the time. The SEC loves to hire guys within the SEC. And, this coordinator was good on this team. Let's give him a chance. And we've seen many of those guys just not work out. But every once in a while you end up with a Kirby Smart, and then every once in a while you end up with a Dan Lanning. And that's why people want to do that. So they've got this SEC mentality up there in Oregon. They're not going to get the full Big Ten payout, but they should still be pretty good money-wise, plus with the Phil Knight and Nike association.
Yeah, they're kind of like SMU. Like they don't get the full, but they're fine. I think they'll be fine.
I think they'll be fine. So, yeah, they are so healthy entering the Big Ten, and that's why everybody has them at the number 2. Basically, everybody has them as number 2 or maybe even number 1. Some people might have them ahead of Ohio State, and that's a fair assumption right now. And the other thing I wanted to hit with them, we were talking about the SP Plus, the Big Ten preview from Bill Connolly on ESPN yesterday. In his little write-up about Oregon, he was saying that this last year, the 2023 team was actually their best SP Plus team. It wasn't the Chip Kelly. It wasn't the 14 title team, the 11 title team. They didn't win the title. They lost the title in both of those, but it was really that team last year. And they just got by Michael Penix and Washington. So in a 12-team playoff, they'll have their shot.
They have the thing Ohio State doesn't, and that's a quarterback that's seen it all. And, yeah, Dylan Gabriel's done the literal college football Oregon trail, but he's played everywhere.
Yeah, he has. Just to give you an idea, folks, on where they are in recruiting. So Lanning's first class is 9th in the country. His second class in 2024, full class, finished 3rd in the country. So it went Georgia, Bama, Oregon, Miami, Ohio State was 5. Remember, we always look at that average player grade. So the average player grade at Oregon in his class last year was 92.19. For perspective, Ohio State was 92.79. So he's right there, just below Alabama and Georgia. But then you start to look at what he's doing in 2025, and then it really comes home to roost. Now, they just got passed by LSU because LSU landed a 5-star safety last night that they beat Oregon for. But in terms of recruiting for next year, the 3 highest average player, they currently have the 5th best class in the country, highest average player grades in college football's recruiting classes for 2025. Alabama's number 1, 94.67. So Kalen DeBoer is flat out getting it done. Number 2 is Ohio State, 93.90. Oregon is 3, 93.89. They are recruiting it, kids, in a big, big way. And they are approaching the portal similar to the way Ohio State approached the portal, in that they are big game hunting. And I think all of that is going to continue going forward.
And because of the way Ohio State recruits and the way that Oregon is starting to recruit under Lanning, I can't remember if we read this somewhere or if Feinbaum said it, but either way, there is real reports from the South that they're getting nervous about the ability of these Big Ten teams in Oregon and Ohio State coming in and getting guys that they want in places like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. And there actually is some real concern there. We'll see if that can trickle into any inroads for any other Big Ten teams. But for right now, Ohio State and Oregon aren't just competing on the same level as those SEC programs that are also at the top of the recruiting rankings every year. They're recruiting the same guys and getting some of them.
Reese, you were just there. Lay of the land in turn. How much duck stuff did you see?
Tons.
How chesty?
Well, it was 100 degrees every day, so nobody was really outside, which was very interesting and unfortunate, I guess, for the agriculture out there. But yeah, it's a duck state by and far. Like I saw like an Oregon State sticker, and it just felt, I was like, that's out of place. But
yeah,
I guess This is a state behind a program, behind a brand. And, man, if they can get one in the next couple of years, like when Chops, you make that point, the SEC is worried. They should be. And so should everybody in this conference that we preside over.
Yeah, they are what I thought USC would be when they came in. That's what they are. They are fully mobilized.
Because they got their defense right. And that's the problem with USC.
Well, and they got everything else. They got everything else right, too. We'll hit the categories on the Ducks coming up next. Max Torres is going to join us at 11:33 for an insider perspective. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ready for all those warm weather get-togethers? Fill up your grocery basket at Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle's Deals for Days program features more than 1,000 deals on your favorite items, so you can save more on what you like most. Barbecue parties, graduations, communions, they're all easier to plan when you buy at Giant Eagle. These low prices are available for a limited time at your Giant Eagle and Market District, so save today. Find more information on Deals for Days at gianteagle.com.
Hi, it's me, Little Bob from Bob's Discount Furniture. I know, you don't know me yet, but I'm here to let you know that I'm opening up 2 brand new showrooms in the Columbus area, located in Reynoldsburg and Polaris, bringing even more of my everyday low prices to the people of Ohio. And if you can't wait, mybobs.com is the quickest and easiest way to get unbeatable furniture prices delivered straight to your home today. That's my 2 brand new Bob's Discount Furniture stores coming to Reynoldsburg and Polaris this summer.
Get Bob's Discount! Come play Skyline's 75th Coney Hunt game. Use your phone to search for virtual conies, tap to collect coins, and redeem them for exclusive Skyline merchandise at participating Skyline restaurants for a limited time. Details at skylinechili.com/Coney Hunt.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Ohio Basement Authority. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com.
Summer's heating up at Zoombezi Bay. Slide into the action with our thrilling rides. Relax and unwind in the lazy river. Join us for $19.99 admission after 4 p.m. Zoombezi Bay, Central Ohio's largest water park. Get your tickets at ZoombeziBay.com.
Summer Summer is full of family fun, strawberry picking, little Johnny's baseball games, warding off shark attacks on the beach.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
When you get sick of all that crap, turn to us. Download the Fan app and take us with you. The Fan.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
You can use your phone at a doctor's office. You can use your phone at a football game. You can even use your phone at an amusement park. But one place you should never use your phone is behind the wheel. Fines now start at $150. So remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Weather forecast for today is looking beautiful. High pressure along with north winds will keep things sunny and quiet out there today. Look for sunny skies with a high of 80. Friday, look for sunny skies with a high around 81. And then heading into your Saturday, look for partly cloudy skies with a high of 87. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with a look at your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
Good Lord. Can you imagine me pitching him on that?
He loves Yellowstone, so
you gotta have a governor.
You can totally do that.
God. Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Can your dad become the governor now that Costner's gone?
Oh, God. Remember, guys, he's more of a low-rent Costner Walt.
Okay.
Like that's more his operation. Hey there, friends. It's your Uncle Bo from my great friends at RCD RV, and just blazing a trail in the RV industry. Family-owned company. Now 5 stores in Ohio to serve you. The best brands, new and pre-owned RVs, every budget. Trust me on that. Whatever you're looking for, they have it. Your summer vacation will be one to remember when you skip the smog and spend your nights under the stars. That beautiful night sky, making memories the entire family is going to cherish forever. Visit them at any of their 3 locations in Central Ohio, and now 5 in the Buckeye State, or online anytime at rcdrv.com. Time for the categories on the Ducks. Okay. That's nice. That's nice. Modern football grade for Oregon. Reese?
It's an A. Everything they do is modern. And with Dan Lanning, like we've talked about, they've brought a modern recruiting emphasis. They've brought a modern portal emphasis. With Nike, that's as modern as you can get in terms of your brand, what your logos look like, what your uniforms look like, how you market everything.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the pinnacle programs in the country.
Yeah, I went with A+ on it because I don't know what I would say. Hey, you need to get better at that. Their recruiting is right up there with the big boys. NIL is taken care of with their Nike relationship. And Phil Knight, it seems like they were one of the ones on the forefront of that. Remember they had like the apartments that were going straight to the players, and that's an Oregon across the board thing too. Like Phil Knight takes an interest in all of Oregon sports, not just football, but he really wants that title in football. And yeah, so A+. I don't know what I would say. Let's work on that for Oregon.
The only thing that they're not an A+ on is their location. As Reese just found out, it's a long damn way getting out there. That's it. That's the only negative. But they can't control that. So in terms of everything that they can control, A+. They portal it, they NIL it, they recruit it, they facility it, they uniform it, everything. Brand, all of it. A+. Do they have the right coach grade, Reese?
It's an A. Dan Lanning's the right guy at the right place at the right time. There's nobody in the country that would say no to him as their head coach.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to give 2 A+ in a row, so I wrote A-, but it's just because, he's still coming up. It's only his third year there at Oregon, so maybe there was some fool's gold to it, but it doesn't really feel like there is. He seems like he knows what he's doing, and Oregon is right there with the top teams in college football now.
The only thing that keeps it from being an A+ for me is it just hasn't happened on the field yet all the way. He hasn't played for a national title, didn't win the Pac-12 a year ago in the last year where they had 2 shots at Washington, didn't crack through on either of them. So that's it. It's just, other than that, recruit, all the rest of it, program builder, all of it, that's all A+. It's just, it just needs to manifest on the field. And he's only going into year 3, so there's plenty of time. Uniform grade on the Ducks, Reese?
Their standards are an A for me, but everything else drags it to a B.
Yeah, I like their color scheme. I like it when they go with the classic greeno on the yellow helmet. But I went C here because there's just too many. So, like, when I think of an Oregon uniform, I don't even know which one I'm thinking of. I don't even know if they wear that one. I don't know which one they're going to wear on any given Saturday for it. So that's why it's down there. Plus, just work in Puddles more. I understand that the actual, full guy in the costume is called the Duck, but Puddles is somewhere around there, and I like it better anyways. Put the Duck on there.
So here's the thing that I'm curious about. So on the video game, they only have 5 uniform choices, and they only have 2 that are their standard home and away. They went with new uniforms this year, and they are going with the really bright, beautiful green and a true yellow, like not neon, not forest green. They're true school colors. They have wings on the helmet with an O in the back is the look, but it's the standard helmet. It's a green helmet with a yellow wing and a yellow O, and so maybe Lanning is peeling some of that back,
condensing the nonsense.
We have to have some consistency in uniform.
Yeah, some uniformity. Yeah, I think it's an A- though, because even the stuff that we're complaining about, kids still love it. I mean, people still love that stuff. It's still a recruiting ploy. Not like it was 15 years ago, because a lot of people are doing it, but they were the first to do it. Coolest to play there. Who you got, Reese?
I was thinking about Michael James. I think it's Marcus Mariota because he won the Heisman and he was spectacular at quarterback. There's so many of them, just offensively. Like when you were a running back or you're a skill position player at Oregon from 2005 until 2019, you were cool.
Yeah, they have tons of stars. Maybe it's a West Coast thing. I don't know if I watched a ton of regular season Oregon, though, during all of those years, at least after the Chip Kelly era. That's when everybody was super enamored with them. But it was right before that it really it brought me in. This was when I was starting to crystallize that I can have opinions about college football. And in 2007, I thought Dennis Dixon was going to win the Heisman. And then I looked up his stats. They're not that great, but he was awesome when he was playing. He hurt his knee, never really worked out for him in the NFL or anything, but I loved watching him play. And just another crazy footnote in that ridiculous 2007 college football season.
They've had a lot of cool players, but the one that jumped out to me was a guy named DeAnthony Thomas. Now, it never manifested in the NFL, but he was a kid who I believe came from Long Beach Poly. I'm pretty sure he came from Snoop's youth program up. He was a 5-star kid. He went to Oregon. He wore number 6. He played around the same time as LaMichael James, and he was one of those guys that with Kenyon Barner, they'd put him in motion and then just look out, just lightning fast. But he kind of represents kind of all of that era of just Chip had so many toys to play with, and he used the best to take advantage of all of them.
Remember when LeGarrette Blount knocked out that Boise State player?
I covered LeGarrette Blount in high school.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wanted to
covered
put
in high school.
him just for that, but
yeah, he went to Taylor County. Well, that's a whole nother. We're running up against it. Remind me to tell you, LeGarrette Blount, where that dude came from. Would they make Lance Harbor's Final 5 grade?
No.
I don't think so either.
Like, it's an F there. You could ask him, hey, tell us where Eugene is. Like, person? This is a map, sir.
I think, yeah, that's the tough sell. Like, when you put it all out there, it's like Oregon does make sense for a top quarterback right now, but a kid from Texas would be like, Oregon? What's that? They're in the Big Ten? Isn't that the Midwest?
That's the one thing Lanning hasn't done, too, right? Like, land that 5-star. They get him in the portal, but first time around, they haven't been on that. It's the one kind of fly in the ointment with them.
But maybe he doesn't have to.
Maybe not. So I'll go C on this, C-, something like that. I don't think he would be in the Final 5. I'm not sure that he'd take. I don't think he would take a visit. Win it all, playoff, or chumps for the Ducks, Reese.
Win it all. This is a team that can do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot that we just haven't had very many win it alls so far. So yeah, they are truly one of them.
There's no question they're one of them. They check every box. They are loaded. They are deep. They are. If they are a hair below Ohio State in terms of total roster, they're ready to go. Max Torres covers them for a living. Give us some perspective on how all of this has come about and what they can do in year one in the Big Ten coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. This season on Nada Yada Island.
When we were new, they spoiled me. They even gave me a phone. But then, it's like I didn't exist.
Don't take yada yada from your wireless carrier. Now with Metro, get that new customer feeling again and again. Introducing Metro Flex. Free 5G phones when you join, same deals as new customers when you stay. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Just bring your number and ID and sign up for an eligible plan. After 12 months, trade in and get our best deals on select devices.
When we first started the business, there was me and one other gentleman. And in the evening, we would build the windows. My installers used to tease us because when they come pick them up in the morning, they were still warm. My employees respect me because they know that what they're doing now, I did the exact same thing. People need to see that the boss works for a living. That's part of running a good business.
Visit Rosati Windows and save 35% on all windows.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Find so many great deals with one stop at Meijer. Like this Friday and Saturday only. Get a $10 coupon when you spend $75 or more in store. Coupon printed at checkout. Start redeeming next week. Plus, this week's hottest deals on Southern Peaches for 99 cents per pound. Fresh from Meijer Family Pack chicken breasts for $2.29 per pound. And select Meijer cheese 3 for $5. Meijer has all you need in just one stop. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Tita Green with Skip Mosick.
Saturday, we'll talk some high school golf as their season is upon us with Tim Street of the OHSAA plus Bob Herrig from the Open at Troon.
Tita Green with Skip Mosick, presented by X-Golf. Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
This radio commercial was made to convince you to stop speeding. We can't use siren sound effects on the radio, so we'll use other equally jarring sound effects to get your attention. Like telling you that whether you drive a little over the speed limit or a lot, you can crash just the same. You could hurt yourself or worse, others.
I'm at the scene of the collision.
And the damage you cause will be beyond repair. See, we didn't have to use crash or siren sounds after all. Speeding catches up with you. Brought to you by NHTSA.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here for my friends at RCD RV. Remember your favorite summer vacation as a kid? Well, I sure do, and I can tell you those memories will last forever. And there is still time to create those memories with your family when you visit the fine people at RCD RV. You can literally go anywhere in an RV. The mountains, the lake, road trip of a lifetime. RCD has over 600 new and pre-owned RVs in stock, something for every budget. Visit them at one of their 3 Central Ohio locations or online anytime at rcdrv.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
20 most interesting, the Oregon Ducks. They're coming in ready to roll. Max Torres covers the Ducks at Scoop Duck on the On3 platform, and he joins us now on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Max, thank you so much for taking the time. This feels like a perfect storm for Oregon football coming into the Big Ten. The momentum in recruiting, the momentum in NIL, the fact that the head coach said no to Alabama to stay. Give me a little bit of a taste of what the last 6-8 months have been like for the Ducks program.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. It's been pretty eventful last 6 to 8 months in the world of Oregon football, like you talked about with the coaching carousel at the tail end of last season and going to the Pac-12 championship and rallying back only to fall short. So it's been some highs and lows for Oregon, but honestly, it's just been, aside from those Washington games, pretty much really pure dominance from Dan Lanning and the Ducks. And then to take all that they've done on the field and parlay that into an NFL record. I believe it was 8 NFL draftees and incredible success on the recruiting trail. It really just feels like they are, going as hard as any other team in the country right now. And I think that they are really being viewed as a serious contender, if not a potential favorite to win the Big Ten in their first year. And I realize that's a big statement, but that's really how the pieces are at least lining up to give them a real shot at that.
It feels like they're walking in right into the door right with Ohio State is what it seems like. And those clearly are the separators in the Big Ten heading into this year. A team obviously we know very, very well, Max. In terms of Lanning, what notes does he hit? And as you've gotten to know him a little bit, what is it about him and the fit that has worked so well there?
I always like getting this question because I think one of the things that really has made him a good fit at Oregon, honestly, doesn't even necessarily come on the field, which might sound interesting to say, but hear me out. I think he has just really, really leaned into and embraced everything that the University of Oregon is, everything that the city of Eugene is. The Nike brand, that's huge. He's wearing a new pair of shoes seemingly every other time I see him. He's winning the press conference by saying the grass is damn green in Eugene amid some of these coaching carousel rumors, to Texas A&M and Alabama following the Saban retirement. And I think he's also kind of leaned into the fact that Oregon is always innovating and maybe doesn't have as much history as some of these other blue blood programs, storied programs that he's going to be facing in the Big Ten. So I think that his persona, his personality, his swagger, and his fire have really made this a perfect fit. And him being a defensive coach has obviously registered really, really well with the team and with recruits. I think that things are lining up well with him and Tosh Latoy to continue climbing, entering year 3 here in 2024.
Max, my perception from this side of it was when all of the Big Ten expansion was happening, first with USC and UCLA, and I always felt they had to have dance partners on the West Coast. And obviously Oregon and Washington were among the schools that you said, well, you got to have them if you're going to have it. I did get my feeling, my perception of it was that Washington was a little more passive, but that it was Oregon who was ultra aggressive to get to the Big Ten. Is that how it felt on your end of things?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like once it looked like the Ducks were going to be heading to the Big Ten, or at the very least leaving the Pac-12 as it was kind of crumbling more or less, I think that the administration at Oregon was pretty adamant, like, hey, we have to have a seat with the big boys. We have to have a seat at the table. And I think with how much that Oregon football brand has grown, with how much the basketball brand has grown too, for that matter, going to the Final Four in 2016. Dana Altman's had a really good career at Oregon on the hardwood, and then Kelly Graves and the Oregon women's basketball team. Like, I just feel like they were very adamant as a university that they were going to have a seat at the table, and the SEC didn't really seem realistic. So the Big Ten, especially with those other 3 West Coast schools, ultimately felt like the best place for them. And I'm glad that they ended up in the Big Ten. I'm sad to see the Pac-12 go, but the Big Ten definitely seemed like the best way forward. And now we're going to see Oregon with that Big Ten logo now in a couple months.
Yeah, it's wild to do it. How much of the success in recruiting and NIL, obviously Phil's been there, and he has been kind of the godfather of that whole operation, all of it. Are there others who are willing to pony up as well? How are they landing the plane on NIL so much? Has he mobilized other big boosters as well?
Yeah, this is always an interesting topic, and one that's certainly been a topic of conversation in the recruiting world lately. I can definitely say that NIL has played a factor in Oregon's recent recruiting run, but it's really not the entire piece of the puzzle. It's one portion of the pie. This storm of success that we've seen from Oregon, they do have donors aside from just Phil Knight, but of course we have to be out front that he is the most significant of them. But with the run of on-field success that they've had, the NFL draft production that they have, with them getting that big exposure in the Big Ten, broadening their brand, expanding their brand, and they've also been a recruiting heavyweight. I've covered this team for about 6 years, and I'd say they've probably been a heavyweight for a good 4 of them or so. If you go back to the Willie Taggart era, they've been ascending as recruiters. Mario Cristobal took over, continued to ascend, and then here comes Lanning, and he signs the best class the program has ever seen. So I think that it's really kind of been a perfect storm with Oregon going into the NIL era, with the Nike backing, with what they've been able to do on the field and produce some high-level players. So it's been really fun to watch, and I don't think that they're going to be slowing down anytime soon.
If they are to accomplish all that is expected, and I mean, they're going to be a top 4 consensus team going into the country, what will be the reason for that? And if they fall short, why would they fall short?
Oh, that is a great question. You're putting me on the spot here. I mean, I'll start with if they can, live up to those aspirations. I think a big part of it is going to be how far Dylan Gabriel and Will Stein can take them with all the hype that this offense is receiving. It's looking like it could be an all-time group. Going to be another strong offensive line for Alik Terry. Some people think that the Ducks have the best wide receiver room in the country. So I think you got to start with Dylan Gabriel and Will Stein and where they can take you as an offense. And then also you got to continue to see that defense rise with Dan Lennon and Tosh Latoy, who I mentioned earlier. And I think if Oregon doesn't live up to all that potential, if they somehow fall short this season, I could probably see it coming down to execution like it did last year, and that's not to take away from any of those Washington games. I mean, you can have all the players and everything's falling in your favor, but if you can't execute and line it up when you need to, you're not going to win those big games. So that's ultimately the hump that the Ducks are trying to get over this year.
Max, I'll get you out of here on this one. How cognizant is that fan base for how Ohio State travels? I ask because this was a game that was canceled during COVID. So many Buckeye fans I know are heading out there. A lot of them are turning into Bandon Dunes and all of that. That ticket is there a campaign to resist selling those tickets to make sure that that is the overwhelming Oregon atmosphere that they're used to?
Yeah, I think that, Oregon hasn't had Ohio State at their place in Eugene at Autzen Stadium, but they do have a taste of Ohio State fans after going out there to the Horseshoe in 2021. I was actually at that game. So I don't think there's a push to avoid selling tickets. I think if you're an Oregon fan, my guess is that you want as many Ohio State fans there as possible. Obviously, you'd like to have some kind of a balance, but you want their best shot, and you're going to give them your best shot likewise. So that's setting up to be an all-timer out in Eugene. And like you said, it was a game that didn't get played during the COVID season. So I bet that Oregon's looking to get one back, even though they were able to come away with a win last time they faced off.
Max, is it just for historical perspective, and you've been on the beat there for 6 years or so, is there a game that's comparable to this one in terms of the hype that one will have, provided they both get there undefeated? And Ohio State doesn't play anybody, so they'll be fine. But Oregon's schedule's a little bit more ambitious. What's a comparison for that game?
Oh, that is a great one.
Or is it the most?
It's probably going to be it's going to be the biggest regular season game, I think, since I've been on the beat, I should say. But the two games that kind of come to mind for me, I don't know if this is a cop-out or not, but the 2015 Rose Bowl against Florida State before the Ducks played Ohio State in the eventual national championship game. Or maybe you could also look at that, I believe it was 2019 game versus Auburn and Bo Nix, Herbert versus Nix. Out in Jerry's World, I think that was a game that had a whole lot of hype around it as well. So those are the first two that come to mind for me.
But neither one in Eugene, so perhaps this one will have all of that. It's going to be fun. Look forward to seeing you out there, my man. Thank you so much for the time, and probably talk to you game week of that one, which will be here before we know it. Thanks for your time today.
I would love that. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that's Max Torres, covers the Ducks for Scoop Duck. They are – I said that to you, Reese, when you were out there. Like, are they chesty? They're ready. They know what they have. They're poised. They're mobilized. That thing's going to be a scene. That will be an absolute scene.
The Ducks are flying together.
They are, yeah. I still think they have no idea what Ohio State travel's like. No idea.
Well, they'll see.
When we played them in the Rose Bowl and we played them in the national championship game, it was like 90-10. Now, I understand it's their venue, so it's a little different, but it's going to be a lot of scarlet and gray. We'll hit three things on a Thursday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan.
Get your air conditioner fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling. 1-800-COOLING.
Attention aspiring media stars. Are you ready to take your talent to the next level? Register for your chance to win the Be On Air Summer Slam contest. This is your chance to showcase your skills in a thrilling 30-second live script challenge. Visit now at studiocontest.com to secure your spot and compete for amazing prizes, including a 4-hour studio session, Shure MV7 microphone, and Audio-Technica M20X headphones. Don't miss out on this dynamic event. Be On Air Summer Slam contest, where talent meets opportunity. Visit studiocontest.com and sign up today.
Are you or a loved one struggling with addiction? Pinnacle Treatment and Recovery Works are here to help guide you on a path to a better life. We offer residential addiction treatment, detox, and opioid treatment programs throughout Ohio that fit your unique needs. We make it easy to get started. We accept Medicaid, most commercial insurance, and our access center is open 24/7. A better life is possible. Visit pinnacletreatment.com/Ohio. Where there is treatment, there is hope.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. I was in my Lexus the other day. It was hot as hell, but I was so thankful for my ventilated seats. I'm not saying that's why you should buy one. It's just very nice. Right now at Jermaine Lexus, it's the Golden Opportunity Sales Event with lease payments as low as $499 a month and 3.99% financing on select models. Get this, the RZ is 0%. I have been a Jermaine customer for years, even before I started doing the commercials. If you're in the market, please stop in. Jermaine Lexus, Dublin and Easton, Jermaine TermainLexus.com.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Why sweat over a hot grill? Treat yourself and your family to a pizza queue. Order great-tasting Giannino's Pizza.
Giannino's great-tasting pizza with fresh ingredients, with locations in Pickerington and Westerville.
The Fan is your home for the Dallas Cowboys.
No, we're not. You can't say that. Take two.
The Fan is your home of the Buckeyes. Yes, that's right. Same thing, but more playoff success. Now give Big Voice Guy another brandy. Thank you. The Fan.
Hey, it's Anthony from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. It's time to strike. 0% APR up to 36 months on all new 24 Accords, 25 Civics and Honda Pilots, and CRVs. How about a 24 Passport or a Honda Prelude, even a 24 Ridgeline? Rich is throwing it out at 0% APR up to 36 months. Only from my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. They're on Sawmill Parkway, just south of 270, with approved credit. See dealer for details.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444-ROOF.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Nationwide Picnic with the Pops presents the pride of the Buckeyes, the Ohio State University Marching Band. Don your scarlet and gray and join the Columbus Symphony for a night of fight songs, battle cries, Carmen, Ohio, and more. Special guest appearances include Brutus Buckeye and the Ohio State cheer team. Pack your picnic basket and join the fun at the first big tailgate party of the season, topped off with fireworks. July 26th and 27th. Get your tickets today at picnicwithapops.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Columbus, Worthington, Air, and Bryant. Doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan Poll, sponsored by Friendship, asks, did you alter your sleep schedule at all to watch the Open Championship this morning? 90% of you say no. You didn't alter anything for the first round of the British Open. 7% said you got up a little early. 0% said you stayed up late. 1% said you did both.
Has there ever been anything that you have altered your sleep pattern for to watch live?
There was my freshman year in college, Notre Dame playing over in Ireland, and I remember we stayed at somebody's older brother's house because he was off campus, and I remember waking up with couch cushions on me because they didn't have blankets there, and we woke up early to watch that game. Cushions. I remember that specifically. So that's the closest I could think of.
Get up early for a World Cup match.
That's it.
Get up early for something on the Olympics.
Usually for me, it's stay up late. In the old days, before the children, I would stay up ultra late for a World Cup game. Like I remember watching live, like the World Cup final when it was in like Korea and Brazil beat Germany, I want to say, in like 2002. I remember doing that and just staying up really late. But like getting up early to watch something, I mean, maybe like if Tiger, he's not going to make a run, but like he's like 3 over. But like if he did, I would maybe get up Sunday morning early to watch it.
I think I'm the inverse of you because I can't stay up late. Like I'm going to bed, I'm falling asleep. So if I'm going to try, I'm falling asleep on the couch then. But I can get up earlier and I can make my body do that much easier than try to stay awake.
All right, time for 3 things. On
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
All right, number 1 for me, and speaking of the golf theme, I am endlessly fascinated why some of the live guys have to wear that goofy live branding team stuff, and some of them don't. I know why it is. It's because, for example, like Koepka doesn't have to. It doesn't look like Dustin Johnson is wearing it today. Koepka's in all Nike today, as he always is, which then got me thinking, Nike's contracts must be so ironclad because obviously Liv would want Koepka in that stuff, and they're paying him a great amount of money, but that Nike deal must be just unbreakable because he continues to dress like he's on the PGA Tour. Most of the rest of those Liv guys have to wear those goofy outfits.
I wonder if the PIF bought out any contracts for guys,
Probably.
and Nike just said, no, not for Koepka.
Not for Koepka. They don't.
First one for me. So I mentioned earlier this week that I'm reading the Friday Night Lights book, and it's crazy that the 1 year that Buzz Bissinger decided to follow a high school football team, that they were not only good, but they weren't world beaters either, but they end up in this three-way tie in their district that came down to the three coaches flipping a coin. So we had Heath Cline on saying they don't know tiebreakers. Well, this tiebreaker was just simply flipping a coin. It also works in the movie because it's the real story. It's written basically the same way that it happens in the movies, and both ways to take in the scene are very compelling. I was reading this yesterday. If it was just straight fiction, though, that writing would that it came down to a coin flip would be like, oh, that's kind of lazy and cliche. But for some reason, when it's a real story, it's very enthralling. And he got that on the 1 year. He just decided to follow Permian Panthers. Amazing.
Dude, the booby stuff.
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff happened. It's crazy.
The adaptation of the movie is also really good from what's in the book, and making an actual movie out of it is really good.
There's a lot of excitement for Texas joining the SEC, obviously, and I think this is maybe 20 years removed from Texas, Arkansas being maybe even longer than that, a hatred of a rivalry. Sam Pittman, friend of the program, was asked earlier this morning. Steve Sarkisian made a comment saying Arkansas fans hate Texas more than they like Arkansas. And Sam Pittman said, quote, he's probably right.
That's sometimes how I feel about Buckeye fans in the 90s sometimes.
Go Hogs.
That they hate Michigan almost more than they like Ohio State at some point. Not anymore, but at a time I felt like that almost. Number two for me, so you guys remember when I tried buying the Tiger Woods gear at the Masters and it wasn't available?
Right.
And then it became available in May, and they sent me an email, oh, please buy now. No, I'm good. Now he's sitting here and he's in it, and I'm thinking to myself, I haven't seen that gear on anybody anywhere. It's probably one of the biggest you blew it boys in marketing of all time. The fact that they did not have that stuff ready at the Masters, because it was a cool launch and all of that, but they launched it and the gear wasn't available. Like, how stupid can you possibly be? I get an email from them every day. Buy this now. Nah, I'm good. Moments passed.
Another piece of media I'm taking in, that receiver show on Netflix. And while we're watching it, Jayla asked me, well, because George Kittle's in it. And she goes, what's the difference between a wide receiver and a tight end? Hey, the simple stuff I came up that's obvious. Hey, they're bigger. They line up on the line. They have to block sometimes. But the idea is, yeah, they're all pass catchers. Then every once in a while she'll ask me a question that puts me into work mode. Then I start to go off and I'm like, actually, it's really interesting because of the salary cap. Because if you classify a player as a tight end, that cap number is much smaller if you franchise tag that guy and all this stuff. And I was talking about, and they also do this with linebackers and defensive ends, and linebackers get paid less on it. And I just did this whole spiel, and she was like, okay, thanks for that. But yeah, that was something that it just turned me on, and I just kept going.
So you talk about Tiger Woods. So he had a long birdie putt on 3 that he made, and I was like, oh, maybe there's a chance. And then at 4, he had a bogey, 5 double bogey, parred 6, 7, and 8 bogeys. He's +4 through 8.
Yeah, him and Rory can go play a round. They're neither going to make the cut, is the way that thing is started. Number 3 for me, a bit of a sad one if you're a man and you're 40, because I saw that yesterday they closed the Mirage Casino in Las Vegas for the final time. The Mirage was the bridge between old Sinatra Vegas, the Sands and all of that, to the new Vegas. The Mirage was the first hotel, and I remember being a kid when it opened and being like, wait a second, they got a volcano in front of that thing? And that sucker goes off all the time. And that led to the Luxor, which is the pyramid, and then the one that's the castle, that happened, and then the MGM Grand happened, and that was okay, this takes all of that and buries it. But the fact that thing's being demolished after all these years, first of all, it made me feel old, but also that was a critical part of Vegas history.
And now they can say it all was a mirage because it's gone.
Siegfried and Roy were there forever, 20 years.
If you read the Skull Session today, you may have seen this. Jason Tatum, the Celtics star, he shared a letter on Instagram yesterday that he wrote to his future self when he was in the 4th grade. It was supposed to be when he was turning 30, which still is not where he's at. That's not going to be until 2028. But in the letter, he says he's going to play at Ohio State. So that stood out. He obviously played 1 year at Duke. He also had the name for his wife, Kristen. He is not married at this point. And his son would play basketball. His daughter would play volleyball. In 2028, like I said, he'll be 30. So here are some of the other predictions, and will they be true? Because he didn't play at OSU. He didn't get drafted by the Phoenix Suns. He hasn't been traded to the Lakers yet. I guess we'll see. He said he'd play for USA basketball in the Olympics. Check on that one. He's got 4 more seasons to have 2 NBA champions, though, because he predicted that he'd have 3 by age 30. Either way, it's a cool letter, and it's pretty cool that he's doing stuff that's in it, because I never got the real version of the events I wrote myself around that age, which were fake recruiting letters where I tried to draw the logos of all the big college football schools. Never got those in real life.
Well, on EA Sports College Football 25, you can live that dream.
There we go.
If you so desire. Rothman and Ice are up next from 12 to 3. Dave Biddle is going to be joining AR today. 24/7 Sports' Brad Crawford's going to jump on the show at 12:33. He's also in Dallas for SEC Media Days.
There you go. You got that to look forward to, which is nice. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is a Fan Action Update.
Your Big Ten Action Update. The Maryland Terrapins have the 10th best odds to win the Big Ten this year at 100 to 1. The Terrapins season win total is at 6.5 games. They finished 8-5 last season, winning the Music City Bowl against Auburn. Maryland's non-conference schedule this year includes games against UConn, Virginia, and Villanova. For your Action Update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Get Eco.
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, Jerry.
Remember when we first met?
I was just starting Eco Plumbers and looking for a silent partner.
And I had just invented sneakers with lights in them and was looking for somewhere to invest my fortune.
I didn't even think inventor was an actual job.
I didn't think plumbers started companies.
Get Eco.
As I recall, you thought the name Eco was a pretty good idea.
As a full-time inventor, Aaron, it's just that kind of creative thinking that caught my attention. Simple, memorable, singable.
Get Eco.
And it reminds homeowners that modern plumbing can make economical sense and ecological sense at the same time. Waste less water and save money on your utility bills.
Get Eco.
Instead of just sitting here raking in royalties after inventing that little plastic hanger that socks come on, I might as well be a silent partner in a company that's doing good.
You're not all that silent as silent partners go.
But I am charming, Aaron.
Get Eco.
GetEco.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Jedi are being murdered.
Now streaming, Star Wars Returns, only on Disney+.
I didn't do it! Believe me!
She was my student. Let me be the one to bring her in.
Now she is a student of the dark side. An acolyte.
Star Wars: The Acolyte. New episodes Tuesdays.